What's poppin', gamers? It's day 5, the final day of Good Games Canon. The show where we rank the best games of the 2000s decade. We've made a 12-game bracket for every year. We're gonna try to narrow down a top 4. And today I think it's the most sicko year of them all, which is 2008. Again, like as always, we might have some people join kind of partway through. Yeah. And also, as always, we're gonna talk about some honorable mentions first. The one I picked is GTA 4. To be honest, this is like not one of my favorite games or anything like that. I just have this admiration for how hard it leveraged the technology, right? And for how hard it went into trying to sell that specific kind of immersion and that experience. So to this day, like the level of detail of GTA 4 specifically, I think is pretty unmatched. I still get a kick out of like just the fact, like the little interactions that you can enter. Like for example, you kick a taxi, then the taxi driver wants to punch you, then you get the taxi driver to punch another car, and then the guy who was in that car will get angry at the taxi driver, and then they get into a fight. I don't know, man. This is a good game. Love the aesthetic as well. Nico is peak. Yeah, that's my hot take. Okay.
Nico peak. Wow.
Oh, I was gonna. Oh, I was gonna say, going off of GTA 4, I've personally had a sort of. I've like wrapped back around to just really liking how Rockstar tried to make like a car simulation, but it ends up being actually a little bit harder than how driving
is in real life.
It's yes. You understand what I'm trying to get at? Like,
yeah,
you have to really consider like every single minutiae, like a minuscule turn driving anything in GTA 4.
I guess it's sort of like like Nico. Also, he doesn't walk like a real person, right? But it's sort of like I think doesn't Stanley Kubrick have like a line with this where you have to really exaggerate to make it feel real or something, like so you really exaggerate the feel and the sway of like Nico's movements to make it feel like it's sort of heavy and realistic, even though it's not that hard to walk in real life.
Yeah. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, GTA 4 is just cool because it's they don't make them like that anymore, man. It's simulation for simulation's sake.
Yes.
On that scale, and it's just that's not gonna happen, dude.
I am curious about 6, what they're gonna do with that. So
yeah,
they're gonna have me in the game.
Raph, your honorable mention
no
is
way.
One of the Blaze Blues. I don't know which one it is that year, but
Oh yeah, true. Blaze Blue. It's really cool. It's defined by its asymmetry, where every single character has this unique mechanical gimmick that informs their approach to movement, their approach to pressure, their approach to combo structure. Every character has a radically different combo structure. That's really interesting to play with. And after a decade of iteration, they've actually gotten that game to a really good balancing. You know, it's you got like 30 games in one, and it somehow works, right? Like, there's a character whose gimmick is that he takes more hits done than everyone else. He just inherently has unique combos because he's just a big punching bag, but it somehow works. There's characters that fly all the way to the top of the screen where no one can reach, and it's balanced. I don't know how that game functions, but it's awesome.
The newest version is also the one that has rollback on PC, right?
Right. Central Fiction.
Yeah.
I mean, if we are counting Calamity Trigger, the answer is didn't function too well at first.
Oh yeah, at first it was horrendously. It was pretty badly balanced for like 9 years, and then at the very, very end, they got it in a good spot.
So Hot Pocket has written down SOE Indian Summer, which is a Quake map. It's very on brand. I'm gonna assume nobody has anything to say about that.
SOE Indian Summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Quake map pack.
Issa, do you have like a take on it?
I could, but I don't remember that map too well.
Okay.
It's a really good map.
Basil had written down Left 4 Dead. I guess Left 4 Dead is a kind of a banger. I think maybe John, you're like a bit of a Left 4 Dead fan, right?
Yeah. It's one of those like TF2. This is there are many like it, but this is kind of like the one. I think like unlike a lot of co-op games that have come out since, like the fact that this doesn't have any like infrastructure or battle passes or leveling system, and it is just such an easy game to sit down with. And it's interesting because like Left 4 Dead 2 is like I think this is like a much more popular one on Steam. But like Left 4 Dead 1 has like a lot of smart changes, or it has a lot of smart design choices that aren't like carried over into 2. So there's more of like you have to coordinate more with people that you're playing with, and like stuff like the tank will actually like single out targets in your group and kill them. So like there's a much greater likelihood of playing with like 2 or 3 people than like Left 4 Dead 2, where it's like you're either it's a very feast or famine. You're either like a full party or you're all dead. But yeah, this is just a really excellent co-op game, still worth playing.
Nice. I'm kind of sad that I never got into it that much. Maybe we gotta get a party going.
I'm down. I'm
Evan?
hella down.
Hell
I
yeah.
never got to play the first one. I'm down.
Evan has written down Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. That's a banger. That's one I always want to play more. Does anyone have text on that? Does anyone want to talk about it?
Yeah, it's like Tears of the Kingdom, but good.
I knew him a lot.
That's all you need to know.
That's all she wrote.
Pang has
I
written
need to
down
check it out.
Jubeat. I'm gonna assume it's a rhythm game.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
Pang
can
actually
talk to
gave
that.
me. Oh wait, no, you go.
Oh, wait, hold on. If he sent you something, then you can just read it off.
He sent me like 20 paragraphs for every game he has opinions on, so I'm sorry. So Jubeat. Oh wait, can you start? Oh yeah, it's one of the best like non-vertically scrolling rhythm games out there. It was like Bimani's first big modern arcade win. It's like this rhythm game made up of like a 4x4. Oh, we have a picture there. It's like a 4x4 grid of buttons, where like each button has a screen on it,
That
and
looks
underneath the
insane.
screen just displays when to hit it. So like there'll be like an aperture closing or like this gauge filling on the button, and that tells you exactly when to hit it. Requires a lot of like micro positioning. There's like individual buttons clicking other buttons, or individual fingers clicking buttons independently. But there's also this macro positioning with like moving your hand across this big board to like minimize unhittable areas. It's really technical. It's really deep. It looks cool as hell. You can see the video there. Good game. Luna, you got something to say? Sorry.
No, I don't really have much to add. I figured he'd have something much more elegant than me. I was just going to say that when I've gone to, there's a con in Atlanta I go to every May, and every single time I go, there's always a Jubeat station there, and it's what the most fun I have playing any game at the con
MomoCon?
the entire week. Jubeat's just an extremely fun rhythm game. Like the song list is pretty, the set list is pretty good. It feels incredible just to like be able to like track everything in front of you. It's like fully visible information that you're just moving your hands between, and it's just such a bop. Like it really is such an intuitive, super fun rhythm game.
Can I just say, Raph, you have such an eloquent and engaging way to talk about games, and I'm assuming this is one you've never even played.
Oh no, I have no idea what he's talking about. I'm trying to read this.
You sounded so like it sounded so natural. You know, it's so funny. So Luna, your honorable mention is Heisei Pistol Show.
Yeah, give me a second. I'm pulling up what I was going to say about it.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Hold
one
on.
I've heard a lot about like lately. I feel like.
I just want to say
Yeah.
I actually played it for the first time recently. That game is peak. That game is so good.
Yeah, it's so Heisei Pistol Show is probably one of the most stylish, if not the most stylish RPG Maker game you'll ever play in your life. Like the full thing starts out in almost like Tarantino Kill Bill-esque sequence of visuals. The entire thing is this really, really frictional, difficult queer story, just told through like three different layers of self-hurt and trying to escape from it through like things that they think are things the main character thinks are cool, things that make them feel much more affirmed and try not to consider the issues they're going through. It's full of a lot of really sick, interesting story moments. It is in my opinion, I call it quintessential queer media. Like this is like one of those things where if you want to read stories about how like queer artists are dealing with their past and in somewhat autobiographical ways, this is like one of those games you have to play.
Nice.
It's just absolutely incredible.
How long is it?
It's like less than a couple hours.
Cool. I guess like
it's like
yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
barely 90 minutes. Like it is lean. It is there's all killer, no filler.
Yeah, I was asking because like I always have this impression like these sort of itch-coded RPG Maker games. They're always like more on the short side. So yeah. Pretty easy to recommend. Gary, you're a man of my heart. You have written down Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Yeah, man. I don't need a minute. Subspace Emissary,
Fuck
great.
yeah.
Tripping really kind of changed the game, like they really just were like, man, Melee is like so solid for like what we were like kind of set out to want to do. Let's just like let's make something that like really like takes it up another level. And I think that it takes a lot of bravery to do that for a sequel. Also to like, use that to sell the Wii, like the Nintendo Wii. Like, I don't know, man. I've got mad respect for Sakurai. I mean, I really don't think they ever made another one quite like it.
Sakurai was never as brave as he was then when he made a homebrew launcher.
Y'all are so
So true.
Can I just say best way to play clearly was sideways Wii remote.
Of course.
Of course. You got all the demos for Star Fox 64, Ocarina of Time, Ice Climbers, Kid Icarus.
I mean, sincerely, as a package, the presentation, all that shit actually is amazing. Like I feel like that is kind of the start of Sakurai just going completely ham with that kind of shit. Even if the gameplay is incredibly flawed, of course, but like, yeah.
Yeah. Also, we have to appreciate the Ocarina of Time demo for including the full game. You can easily beat it.
So true.
Yep.
That's it kind of for our list. Maybe Ryan, do you have an honorable mention that you want to add?
No. Plus, it was funnier to keep the bit of like 4 shmups in a row before ending with the RPG. we just have to leave it at that.
I fuck with that really hard. John, do you have one?
Oh no.
Okay. Maybe Issa, do you have an honorable mention?
Yeah, sure. Molten Blade is like this weird action grand strategy game. You start as a peasant, helping villager, and then you have to build your way up to getting an army and getting your own kingdom. It's also the combat systems is actually also not that bad. Even if when you get a big army, you don't want to just go down there and kill everybody, because you want to work well. You need to have your army do the work for you pretty much and strategize around that. Another cool thing I like about it is how choosing to play as a woman is basically hard mode. Because the way it works with the diplomacy and the other grand strategy stuff the game has is way harder to do that as a woman than it is as a man. Like to get people to accept you, to get an army, etc., etc. And I think that's a cool way to do difficulty while being historically plausible. But yeah, it's a really cool game. I recommend it.
It's like
okay, actually, I lied. I do have an honorable mention.
Okay.
Go for it.
Let's go.
Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon.
Ooh, okay.
If Alan was here, he could definitely do this a lot more justice. I think my quickie is that alongside just being a sort of very faithful remake of the original game, which also sort of includes some of its probably more contentious aspects, it's also just in and of itself very strongly paced and also very lean, just sort of very fast paced, straightforward to the point. Cuts down on a lot of the more sort of gimmicky aspects of Fire Emblem, so it's just like raw, you know, like equipment and like positioning, like no skills or anything like that. So yeah. It also has a lot of difficulty options. Some of them are fucking insane and really stupid, but yeah.
Yeah, that's one that's always that Alan, like you said, kind of always recommended to me as a fast-paced Fire Emblem.
I got a.
Oh yeah,
I got
Marco,
an
go ahead.
honorable mention. My honorable mention is the very first Valkyria Chronicles.
Ooh, yes. Okay, nice.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, I thought that was like really cool. Like because I really like strategy games, and when I saw like the presentation, I love the presentation of it. Feels like you're reading like a kind of like this water painted book in a sense, and you're also like it's strategy, but it's it has like this kind of like realness to like the characters that I like, and it's just I like how there's real time elements in the game. It's not just pure. I would just say just pure just kind of like static turn-based in a way. And I don't know. I just thought that it was at that time when I played it, it was something that's like was really refreshing for me. And even now, like look back on it, it's still there's not that many games like Valkyria Chronicles that I can think of anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, one of my best friends who doesn't really play many JRPGs or whatever, that's like one game he really latched onto. I feel like that kind of tells you, okay, it still kind of really stands out to this day.
I'll say the real-time elements feel very fitting instead of gimmicky because they do a lot with the stuff like having to go to cover or not or getting shot while moving from place to place.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
Rather than just a magic gimmick.
Kevin, do you have an honorable mention you want to shout out for 2008?
I think I was gonna go with Crisis Warhead.
Ooh, yes.
It's more or less. I don't know if you guys have heard about the complaints from like Crisis 1 about how like the first half of the game is like really cool. You have these massive levels with multiple routes and multiple ways of tackling both the side objectives and the main objectives, and then the aliens show up and the game's just a lot worse. So Crisis Warhead, they kind of try to do their best to rectify that by making it so the alien encounters are more engaged and more integrated with fighting against the regular enemies, and it's got a better train level than Uncharted 2, and that's I don't really have much else to say about it.
The train level is so good.
Yeah.
Isn't that one of Celia Wegar's favorite games as well?
Yes.
Nice.
Under 5x5.
Oh,
Yeah.
did not know.
I really want to play that. Sugar, do you have an honorable mention for 2008?
If I'm gonna bring up anything, it's probably just the Mario Kart Wii is goated.
That game's had an insane resurgence recently, right?
It comes and goes in waves with every like mod pack that comes out. Like CTGP carried a lot of it, but most recently with Mario Kart Midnight, it's extremely fleshed out and has a really good core selection.
It's sort of interesting how that game's reputation evolved, because like, yeah, I feel like I remember at the time everybody was like, oh my god, no swag, no sauce, this game's so lame, this one's for babies, blah blah blah. And now it's like the sweatiest fucking Mario Kart of them all somehow.
Yeah, I wouldn't unliken it to something like Project M or something where like I don't know, I feel like initially people were clowning on it pretty hard, and then the next thing you know, everyone's sweating their brains out because it turns out it's actually kind of fun.
Nice. Yeah, this one I definitely play a lot of the time as well. Okay. Time for our matchups. I'm sort of with this lineup again. These are very sicko weird games. I'm kind of worried that we're not gonna have. There's gonna be some matchups where we're not gonna have a lot to say about them. I think. Okay, this one specifically, we just did it for the memes, right? Dead Space versus fucking Kirby Superstar Ultra. That was way too funny not to do. Also, Evan is not here. I know Evan is like a big Kirby fan.
I don't know.
I can speak for Superstar Ultra.
Yeah. Go for it a little bit.
It's cute. That's it. No. It's honestly a genuinely very solid 2D platformer because the fact that it has 4 different campaigns, each that are like very solidly designed. Either as like an intro like you go from an intro platformer to a sort of an intro collectathon to a sort of intro Metroidvania-esque mode. And it's all pretty fun. It's extremely charming. It probably has like the most recognizable Kirby aesthetic for a 2D Kirby game.
Yeah.
It's generally a lot of people's favorite Kirby game because it just ends up doing a lot of things right. Even though it's not exactly excelling in any one area, it's that great all-rounder.
Yeah.
You can come back to it from any particular perspective. Like, are you a big fan of Kirby game for like the arena fights? We got True Arena here. It's pretty difficult. It's pretty fun. Are you in it for generally for collecting everything as you're going? You've got the Great Cave Venture. Big fan of Midnight. You even got a Midnight Story as well. It's not. I'm personally not like a huge fan of the game. I'm not. But it is very nice. It's always definitely worth recommending for anyone who's like even slightly curious about Kirby because it's where it just all comes from.
Yeah, I think that note about this is a lot of people's favorite Kirby and it's like sort of the quintessential Kirby. That is sort of a useful comparison point because I wonder, is Dead Space 1 most people's favorite Dead Space? I think for some people, yes, definitely, because it had this kind of the slowest, most methodical pace, the densest kind of horror atmosphere. I think personally I've always gravitated more toward 2, but I haven't played it in many, many years. I never actually finished OG Dead Space 1. I played through the remake when that came out. And I think I liked it more, but I still was not hot on it. Raph, I know you played through both games pretty recently, right?
Well, the problem is I'm channeling the spirit of Pang. So here's the 6-minute rundown. Dead Space 1 it's surprisingly good for an RE4 clone. Like it understands that the appeal of RE4 is that every shot matters, right? It's not a spray and pray, just mash the fire button kind of game. It's about de-limbing guys, right? It moves the game away from headshot prioritization and instead focuses on its own unique twist of de-limbing enemies with these really weird exotic weapons that all have their own unique alternate fire modes. My issue isn't necessarily with the core design, but more about the encounters being kind of samey and not really integrating the non-combat elements with the combat scenarios. So like you'll have this really cool environmental hazard of like dodging flames and doing all this stuff, but it's unique to the puzzles and not added to the combat at all. Or like you're dodging whatever's gravity panels and it's like I don't know. What else did Pang say? Stasis is too powerful as a turn enemies off tool, although it's meant to be managed as a resource. There we go. Okay.
John, I feel like you want to speak on Dead Space.
No, I think I think you're right. Like I was thinking, like 2 is such an awesome game. I think 1's pretty good. It has I think a like glacially slow start. Not just sort of like not just like the Half-Life intro where you walk around the Ishimura, but I think the first couple of areas are not super strong conceptually. Some of the stuff that I think when you get deeper in the game, and I feel kind of weird because they just remade it, so there's a high chance people might be hearing this and still want to kind of experience it. But I think like there are some later scenarios where there's some unexpected ways they they find to add new areas to the Ishimura. Like I think those sections are a lot better. I think RE4 suffers from this as well to like a lesser degree, but I think isn't this one where you can kind of play pretty complacently? Like you can, if you only pick a certain number of weapons, you will only get ammo for those number of weapons. So like you can theoretically just take like the line gun and the plasma cutter and just only get ammo drops for like those exact ones and play through the game, without much upset.
Yeah, that seems right. And I felt like there was not that much of a positioning element to fights, because Isaac can very easily. Just kind of run backward, and I think I think I remember the devs making a big deal about the fact that, like, oh, you can't quick turn, so like that's kind of different, right? But like in effect, it's still that isn't actually a meaningful counter to the fact that you're so much more mobile than in RE4, for example.
Yeah, I think it's like I think one, it's like it's trying to be a horror game when you're basically like Iron Man who has time stopping powers.
Yeah,
and two, like kind of embraces that, I think, to better results.
Can I speak quickly about the remake? Actually, never mind. It doesn't really make
sorry.
much of a difference for this bracket.
Yeah, I guess one thing I'll quickly say is, like, my suspicion, I need to revisit too to confirm this, but like a trend today will be, spamming you with enemies is good. That's like often the fix to like make games good. And I feel like maybe that's the slot that 2 kind of falls in. Okay. It's time to vote.
Oh shit, let me vote.
Oh.
See, one day I need to see Issa vote for like cute Nintendo-y kind of game instead of like fucked up Western like shooter Jason.
Fall of Civilization.
Look, I don't like that space that much, but I never played the Kirby game for more than 5 minutes.
I'm just saying you have a type. Yeah, I think that's it for Kirby, right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, congrats on Kirby for losing to Devil May Cry 4. It was very nice to see you while you laughed.
Well, I mean,
Dead Space got mobbed.
Strange things have happened in this panel. So.
I will not be voting for Kirby.
We'll see.
Now then it's over.
So, it's time for MGS4 versus Melty Blood Actress again. I think
easy.
There's definitely a bunch of people who really want to make sure that MGS4 gets shit on as hard as possible. Who's the biggest MGS4 hater in here?
Me.
Okay, Gary, go for it.
No, I don't actually hate Metal Gear Solid. I'm literally the only person in here that likes it.
Okay, no, then actually that's maybe better. Like maybe talk about why you like it and why you think it maybe gets too much of a bad rep.
Okay. So Metal Gear Solid 4 is everyone will probably tell you, and it's probably true, that it is a game that Hideo Kojima did not want to make and originally was not supposed to make the game. And it kind of shows because Metal Gear Solid actually kind of like wrapped up pretty nicely with Metal Gear Solid 2. And by nicely, it was a sequel that didn't want to be a sequel but exists anyways.
Yep.
But then with Metal Gear Solid 3, you finally get like this nice little trilogy. It's all good, but then it's like, oh, this is like a good game. So now what do? We've got this new PlayStation 3 we want to sell, and we need a game on it. So fuck it, Metal Gear Solid 4. And it's like struggling to like continue what Metal Gear like 2 like tried to just like wrap up nicely. Like suddenly you have like all of these like returning characters from like even Metal Gear Solid 1, like Meryl, and it's like you have to figure out what they're doing, and also, oh, I guess she's just alive because in Metal Gear Solid 1 you could choose her or Otacon. And the story is a mess. People will always tell you the story is a mess. It is. It's trying to like wrap up things in a game that should not really been made. But the game is pretty fun. I like it. I mean, it's like it's got the like 4-act structure, and like every act it's like played like very differently. Like you have like the first part, which is like mostly like just sneaking around like between like battlefields. That one and the second act are both like that. And then the third act is just like going like just a tailing mission for like this one guy. It's like I can't make Metal Gear Solid 4 sound like a fun game when it's like so many ideas trying to like get jam-packed in a game that was supposed to not exist in the first place. But there's this like weird quality of it that I can't really hate, where it's like I don't know. I'm bad at making Metal Gear Solid 4 sound good.
You're totally good. I think where I'm laughing. Oh, sorry. Actually, maybe we should move to Melty, because like we're running out of time.
Yeah, probably.
Luna, you're a big Melty head, right?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to end up repeating most of what I said during the honorable mention, but and biggest general thing for me with Melty Blood is that it's like my absolute favorite fighting game. It's usually in the running between it and like Project M and stuff, but like in general, it's like my favorite thing because it's got an incredible depth to what I call air footsies. In general, like your ground game is just as important as your air game. You have different options for approaching through air, whether that be super jump, some double air dash, double jump. You also have multiple different ways of approaching. Usually, most characters will have certain special moves that will approach the air in some kind of fashion. Usually, other than that, though, you also have mechanics for blocking or defending. You can shield in the air, you can block in the air, you can back wave, back air dash. There's also some characters who have a fast fall. You can also do a practically melee like I'm forgetting the term for some reason. I'm blanking out on it. But a spot dodge basically in the air.
Okay.
Which is another option you have. There's a whole full depth of options that all center around neutral game and footsies. So to the point where while Melty does have some extremely cool combos that you have on a few characters, nothing's really more important than how you were approaching your use of space, how you're fighting for use of space. Pressure game and your combo game doesn't take as much precedence as how you're going to be modifying and changing the mental stack of your approach, which I think makes it really, really incredible. Not only that, it's also just an easy fighting game to get into, just because, like, barring a few characters, you have a general combo of 2A, it's like 2B, 5B, no, it's 2B, 2C, 5C, jump BC, jump BC. Like, almost every character has that as a starting combo, and it'll do a good amount of damage. So it's not hard to get into. Everyone's special moves aren't too difficult to pull off, barring, again, a couple exceptions. Everyone has a very understandable game plan, and you have 3 different approaches to, like, what kind of fighting game you want to play it like. You can use half moons to basically play like your but it's probably the easiest way to play. You have like full moon, which is basically like playing Guilty Gear, and then you have
I'm sorry.
and then you have Crescent Moon, which is your general Melty Blood butter, because you get reverse beat, which allows you to go backwards within your combo line or which normals you throw out. It's very cool the way you can cancel and interplay with the mechanics.
Yeah.
It's just an incredible fighting game. It's my absolute favorite. I'm getting hard for it here today.
I guess I'll say really quickly, maybe on MGS4 again, right? I think the point is sort of that it is a disjointed mess that goes in many conflicting directions, but it's what sort of I find weird about it is that it still does it at such an insane level of craftsmanship, right?
Yeah.
There's still clearly so much talent and like expertise on display, right? Which makes it really fucking fascinating.
I'll also say that out of this era of we need a different gameplay type to shake up, I think MGS4 does it the best. Like the end of Chapter 4 fight with Reckless Ray and the final boss fight. I could see myself playing a game that those systems more developed.
Yeah.
Can I make a case for Melty?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I'd say this. I'm gonna be real. I have nothing against MGS4, but MGS4 as a game just gives me Drakengard argument vibes. So, like, off of principle, I can't go for it because it's like, nah, bro. It's like it's supposed to be disjointed and crazy. I'm just like, yeah, Melty.
That's the thing. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't make the case that it is supposed to be. Those things. I think I just agree with Gary. It's like they were just put in such an impossible spot, and like there was no go way to follow up on it, and yeah, just a very strange game.
Yeah, and it does get into, like, I guess it's because it is two-way done by its own legacy compared to how it was during early trailers. Because like in the old days, you're like, Snake doesn't need to hide, FPS mode or something like that. But then I assume midway to development they just did a 180 and decided, okay, Chapter 1 will be more unique, then Chapter 2 will just be MGS3, Chapter 4 will be MGS1, stuff like that. So it does feel too rapid into trying to appeal to everyone.
we're on 5 for Melty, so that's it. We extended a little bit. That's fine.
Hold up. Melty. There we go.
Yeah. That's the thing, like, that's one where I wish we'd had Pang on here, because, like, I would have loved to hear the MGS4 takedown.
He didn't give me one. That's the issue. Missed his chance.
Okay. Now it's time for the racing game matchup: Burnout versus Wipeout HD. I guess I'll say really quick. Burnout Paradise, one of my favorite games. I love it. It's definitely a very silly, stupid game. That has a lot of. It's sort of hard to take seriously as like this arcadey fucking.
That main theme though.
Dude, no, actually, dude, I want to strangle Axl Rose. Oh my god, he can suck my balls. Like, it's a terrible song.
Where do we go? Where do we go? Who picked that song?
Just what I really, the viscerality of this game. Viscerality is like a word I've said a lot, right? But it's so inherently fun, and I do really admire this game's super open setup.
Yeah,
it does seize on a really unique thing that I think a lot of that hasn't really been captured, I think, in other racing games. Also really technically impressive for the time. I'd say Wipeout probably is the more solid technical arcade racer. Raph, I clock you as the racing game expert, as the council. No, what's the word I'm looking for? Colonel Major of the race war. So yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I've served the army for quite a while. I've worked my way up. Wipeout HD, it's an anti-gravity racer, so it has this weird handling model where your car is kind of slow to turn. You have to start turning well before you actually reach a corner. It's insanely fast. It's extremely narrow tracks that are hard to actually navigate on. What makes Wipeout HD so interesting is it's like side strafing mechanic, where you double tap a trigger and your car just instantly moves perpendicular to the right or to the left. And a lot of the game is learning how to abuse that as much as possible to consistently position yourself along the track without losing any speed. And on the higher difficulties, the higher speeds, you need to constantly be strafing while also turning, while also braking along these really tight hairpin corners with extremely narrow tracks. It's insanely hard to pull off. And once you get it, it's like, oh, there's very few games that feel that way, apart from like F-Zero.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, F-Zero is also another example for usually I think the most refined racers, they will have very meaningful trade-offs between turning styles and just how to get around obstacles. Where any given answer to any given corner is not super obvious or super prescriptive. I think Wipeout does that kind of thing really well. I mean, this is sort of the modern Wipeout handling that started, I think, with the PSP games.
Right.
Yeah, and I've personally always preferred it over the PlayStation 1 stuff, which I think PlayStation 1, that trilogy is kind of what people, or I don't know if it's trilogy, but like that's what more people are familiar with. If you haven't tried the newer games, I definitely would encourage you to give it a shot. Like, it's very, very cool.
I was just gonna say, going off what Raph mentioned about it's a anti-gravity racer. It's also kind of touching on the F-Zero comparison. Wipeout HD emphasizes like pitch, I think, more so than any anti-gravity racer I've played. Definitely more than in my opinion, than the classic Wipeouts. And it's like you want to be hitting the ground, because the ground is when your ship actually goes the fastest, and also I'm sorry, I don't know where I was going with that, because this is my first Wipeout, so I don't know.
I think this is like, the first one I played as well.
Yeah, so I don't know how much of it is like new to it. Like, I don't know if barrel rolls existed in the old games.
On PSP they definitely did, I think.
Here you go.
I think the little break things that you use with L2R to start with this game.
Okay.
Really? Do we have like any big Burnout Paradise haters? Like, does anyone want to talk about talk smack about it?
I think my main issue is it really structurally. I don't really like it. I don't think it levers the open world as well it should. Outside of multiplayer, from what I heard, I only have experience with single player, and I found the races just to be a bit easy compared to other Burnout games. To the point that I just got bored. I think mechanically it's pretty cool and pretty sound, just like the previous game. But
is so good, dude. Oh my god, yeah.
But I think it lacked like the balance in the actual rates themselves to be appealing to me personally.
I can understand that. I guess I'll say I spent some time with Takedown the other day, and honestly, I always just felt in the old Burnouts the tracks were already so like nondescript. I kind of got more character and more flair out of the open world in this one. I don't really know. I would probably have to play them more to get a fairer take on it, but yeah.
Yeah, I could see the vibe of this game carrying it because it's a really pretty map. One thing I'm gonna say, I hate all the music shuffle works in this game. I always got girlfriend every single time.
That's the only good. That and the LCD sound system song. Those are the only good ones.
Yeah, but I got one song, then every living girlfriend, then one song, then every girlfriend again.
So
I was
sick,
like,
dude.
oh my god. I'm so tired of
just put on this game and then put on the money store. I think that's the best combo. Okay, it's time to vote. I'll say Wipeout also, it was a cool, like, early downloadable PS3 game. Like, for me, like, ooh, I just got my PS3, and like, ooh, I can download games, it's so sick, ooh.
Yeah, the weirdest thing about HD is how it started as a compilation of the other two PSP games, and nothing else. Then they released the DLC with the all new maps. So I think that's why it was downloadable instead of a physical release.
Yeah. Well, actually, even the DLC, it was like new maps, but they were very clearly based on old maps. So even then, people were still kind of like, "What the hell?" Oh. Even though the visuals are totally unique, right? It's like
yeah, I think the layout was similar to some the PS1, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I think there was one based on 3.
I'm sort of sad Burnout didn't make it, but
I win. I win.
So
yeah, I abstained from talking crap because I thought Burnout would win if I.
Oh, Zed, have you played Midnight Club LA? It's very similar to like Paradise structurally.
I actually did play a little bit at the time. I didn't get that deep into it, but I always had it sort of in the back of my mind, like, yeah, I need to get back to this.
A nice degree of like traffic density. That was actually one of the things that struck me with what little Paradise I played was like the streets feel like really, really empty, and then like in LA, it's like, well, they're modeling after an actual city, and there's actual sections where you're weaving through like highway traffic. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's the thing I'll say about Paradise. Like, the best moments are when you get sort of really dynamic AI traffic interactions. But I can definitely see the argument. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't happen frequently enough.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it happens more if like most ones like did it better with their open world than the dynamic of it all.
Okay, next matchup, it's Hardcore 4 Answer and Rhythm Heaven.
No.
4 Answer, that's sort of a controversial game. I really like it. It's sort of silly, but still pretty impressive, pretty intrinsically fun. I think, Issa, you're one of our biggest Armored Core heads, and you've warmed up to this one over time, right?
Yeah, kinda. I mean, mainly because the campaign is really, really good in terms of spectacle and the scenarios it puts you with.
Very tight.
But I still have a lot of problems with it mechanically. First of all, I'm gonna speak from a PvE standpoint. I barely touch PvP, so I don't know much about it. But my main problem with it is like I think this is the first Armored Core game where it is solely focused on one mechanic, that being quick boosting and second stage quick boosting. Like in the previous one, every time they introduced a new system, it to feel it was at least balanced properly, not to overshadow everything else. But everything in this game is based around you, how well you can quick boost, and nothing else. Which changes a lot of fundamentals about this series. Like for example, missile avoidance isn't as nuanced and as the old gen. You really need to be around quick boosting to survive. It also affected, I think, enemy design, which there's enemies that are a bit more competent, like the normals, but compared to your next, they feel like your early level MT due to how much powerful your next is compared to everything else.
Yeah.
And that's mainly my main problem. There's too much focus on one mechanic rather than the whole like the old gen games.
Raph, I'm sort of curious if you like explored maybe the mechanical differences and like maybe how the kind of PvP plays out between the different generations, because for me it's sort of hard to gauge which one is actually deeper in the end. Like the old games I think have pretty deep movement, but this also seems very technical in its own right.
Yeah, this is like what's a good comparison? If the old games were Suicide Squad, right? This is definitely Quake, right? It's Quake.
Oh. Okay, you say you'll just have to live with that.
No.
Does anyone want to talk about Rhythm Heaven?
The old 10 games have a more granular movement that's more similar to Quake.
Who wants to talk about Rhythm Heaven?
Luckily for us, we got 3 paragraphs from Pang. Let me scroll through. So it's basically WarioWare but less manic. It's more about drawing out the natural rhythms of our lives from small scenarios instead of just gamifying the scenarios ad nauseum. It's big improvements over the GBA games thanks to the DS having like a better sound trip. So it's like you have actual full songs in each minigame instead of just these little vamps. Uses the touchscreen to great effect. It has like this sort of tactility for every minigame, just like strumming a guitar or like rubbing Weeros to make these sounds or whatever. Love the way that for the end of each set of minigames, what is he saying? You get
He was high.
Very heartfelt game. Pang is a big vibes person, so there you go.
I bet you skipped like 8 paragraphs to go vibes game.
I'll say about Rhythm Heaven, like I could never get that much into it because it is sort of slow the way they have to tutorialize every minigame before you can actually play it. Kind of put me off. I know Beyonce did the ad with it, which is cool.
She did?
Yeah, I think so, right? Did
she? No.
Yeah.
What that dogs or something?
What's the fucking song? You can be my daddy if you want to. You can be my daddy if you want to. They should put that in them.
Okay.
Yeah. Does anyone else want to say anything about like? I think Ryan, you're sort of a 4-answer enjoyer. Maybe is it like a guilty pleasure?
Oh, well. So the thing, right, is Issa warmed up to giving the game a 7. Yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, I will give it credit for I think like the amount of options you have in terms of build variety is still pretty good in the context of being in this sort of style. But I think my thought was that this like new movement in and of itself sort of overrides so much stuff, right?
Sure.
Like just a quick boost over all the enemies. I will say I did have one very funny moment. There was one AC fight that I did not like, and I made a build that basically let me hover in the air forever because my energy was just recharged that quickly, and it was enjoyable. But I think this game is sort of very silly. some of the endgame missions are dog shit, and I feel like the main gimmick of all of the giant enemies really only works a couple of times because sort of a lack of dedicated hit zones makes it very easy to sort of you stub a lot of them in the toe and they'll all go down.
One good way to look at it is that the series before was about micro movements. For Answer became about macro movements.
Ah, okay. That's
I
smart.
think the last thing I will praise is the hard mode throws a lot more of like the sort of classic Armored Core style twists at you.
Ooh, yeah, I still need to play that. I guess I want to say, okay, very silly and sometimes kind of dog shit. That sounds like it's still like a top 5 Armored Core.
In fact, it is pretty funny.
By proxy.
Yes. What's up, Khan, by the way? We're just voting on Armored Core for Answer versus Rhythm Heaven.
Yo.
I think this is gonna be a tight matchup. Wait, 1-2 for Armored Core. 2 for Rhythm Heaven. Pang says Rhythm Heaven. I guess 3 for Rhythm Heaven.
Well, if we're gonna count that.
Pang is a hater. But you know what?
So now it's 3 at least.
1 for Armored Core, 1 for Rhythm Heaven, 2 for Rhythm Heaven, 2 for Armored Core.
Raph, is this a vote for Rhythm Heaven?
3 for Rhythm Heaven.
Yeah.
Kind of like a spirit.
Okay.
I'm the medium in this case.
So wait, are
rest
you
in peace, Bang.
abstaining or are you also voting Rhythm Heaven? Like, I think you can be inhabited by the ghost of Pang and then vote. But like, I think Pang getting a vote despite not being here, like, yeah.
Well, the Ouija board says Rhythm Heaven, so I'm just following the.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So right
just
now,
do that.
Yeah.
Right now,
so it's 1 vote for Rhythm Heaven. Okay.
It's 4-3.
I should be like channeling the spirit of like Rex Sakel in another server and voting against for Answer because he hates Miyazaki Armored Core 4 so much.
AC4 is so much worse than 4 Answer though. Like that's
no, he hates both.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to be consistent. If Hot Pocket was here, he would be voting for Rhythm Heaven purely on the basis that Gen 4 is Miyazaki.
I think that's 5 for Rhythm Heaven. So I think since Kaim just joined, if 2 more wait, Luna abstained. So yeah, I think Rhythm Heaven took it. Damn, that's crazy. Okay.
I mean, both games are great, so I'm fine. I mean, Rhythm Heaven's sick though.
Terrible news.
It's a safe part isn't weird because you cover made a case for Answer.
I abstain because I've not played either, but they both look just as cool, so I'm not gonna be unhappy with either one.
Yeah, I was hoping for Answer would kind of do more stuff, but like, I guess that's how it be. Okay. It's
This
time
really
for
is a vibes bracket.
It's time for DMC4 versus Kirby Superstar Ultra. DMC4 our most voted game here. One of my favorite games of all time. I love it. I only play Nero. I guess like I mean this game has a very fucking big reputation, I'd say, right? As this insane, crazy, technical fucking combo game. Everybody already voting. Fuck you, John.
I feel like this is your Monster Hunter. I feel like this is you play it with 2 times speed. You don't play the campaign; it's bad. Don't play Dante; that's bad.
I don't feel that way.
Don't play the special edition. That's bad.
Can I balance my
the campaign?
Can I balance my Kirby talk with like an anti-Kirby thing for a second?
I guess I'll say really quickly what DMC4. I think what is remarkable about it, like two large things for me. Number one, just how well a lot of interactions gel together due to, I'm gonna say the meme word, inertia, right? The fact that when you do an action, it has an inherent sense of momentum, right? And then that can carry into any other action. The game really, like with Snatch and with Caliber, with those kinds of moves, it leverages that really well. And then the other thing for me is that it's one of the few action games that actually meaningfully mixes vastly different enemy types in like the same encounter. Especially, well, in the campaign, not so much, unfortunately, but in Bloody Palace, it's kind of shocking just just how creative it gets with that. And then the fact that enemies, they can infight a little bit, and then also that you can even set up enemies to work against each other. For example, like, this again very naturally plays into Nero's grab. A lot of the grabs that you do have are sort of set up in a way where you can redirect or somehow attack one enemy with the other guy, and like, I don't know, it's really cool. I love it. Also, I was really depressed and overworked when I got into it, and you know, I have a soft spot for it because of that. Yep.
One thing I want to say is I was talking earlier about Kirby being like a really Superstar Ultra being such a great all-rounder, and I said that it didn't excel any area, and I really do think that's pretty important. Superstar Ultra is pretty much has every single component that is pretty good. There is a better game for elsewhere. Like, it just doesn't excel in any other component. I don't think there's a single game that does Devil May Cry 4 like Devil May Cry 4.
That's
Ooh,
a
I got
great
one.
comparison. Yeah. Oh, what's up, Monroe?
I was gonna joke. I was making a joke when she said that there's no game that excels at Devil May Cry 4, and I was gonna say the game with dry forms, but I'm just being silly. Don't
Does anyone want to speak on DMC4 a little bit? Like maybe have a more balanced take on it or something?
I'll say DMC4 was when the trend with the series starts of making the low tier enemies very low tier.
That's very true.
With stuff like the scarecrows that like attack you once every blue moon. Same with the mega scarecrows. Weirdly enough, Imato is a mid-tier enemy. And it's also one of those games that has 10 enemies and like 4 out of 10 enemies at the bottom. Doesn't have like middle ground. But the 10 enemies are really good and have good interactions.
Yeah. I think the scarecrows, their saving grace is that they are really fun to hit. And it's fun to like jump cancel them, right? Like yeah, I personally don't get tired of that. I don't like for example that you have the DT buster in the air that they like bounce from the ground and stuff. It's so sick. It's so sick. Like I think it's a fair criticism, but I still get enjoyment out of it. Yeah.
And I say though, Bliss like big brain enemy versus Dante. The way we can basically nullify these electric shield with Royal Guard is really cool.
Yeah.
And the game has a lot of smart enemy design like that. His main problems are really structurally, which is by design because they know they didn't have the budget to give both Nero and that in the attention they needed.
Yeah. Monroe, do you want to say something?
I was just gonna say, I do prefer Nero and DMC4, and probably even DMC5. The only character I've liked more is Virgil. Not gonna get into that. Gonna get into that. But I actually do enjoy playing as Dante in DMC4. I don't know. I like the I really did like just his style switching. When I discovered like how when I was first playing that game. And like I was going through it again because I didn't, I couldn't play a lot of games, like I couldn't buy a lot of games the way I can now. So DMC4 was something that like I played, for a good bit until I got a job and started making my own money. And I really liked playing, as Dante. I just like I said, the different styles. I liked how they like kind of all just blended together and all this kind of stuff. And it was just really interesting because I had never played a game that let me like control a character like that, like just. And it was just really, really fun. But like, yeah, DMC4, go peak.
Raph, last 20 seconds. I'm curious. Do you have like a technical skill swag analysis of this game?
I think Dante's moveset not being designed around the enemy specifically actually makes him really interesting to play. Mm-hmm. You can take advantage of really unorthodox and creative ways of breaking enemies' defenses, and actually optimizing his character's playstyle is very unique. Because it's so undesigned. Good game.
This is the thing. Oh yeah, you said go ahead.
I think it's because Dante has so many like interesting but strong tools that makes it work at the end.
I feel like it's also just the fact that the game has a really strong universal foundation, right? That's in Bloody Palace you see this as well, right? You fight bosses that like in the campaign only Nero encounters, and they still work with Dante, and it's because they there's so much universal glue kind of chaining everything together. And even though I personally never really gelled with Dante and how he plays, I still think it is a very positive quality that he's in there, and like it is like very clearly very interesting what people do with him. Yeah.
I'll say Dante is awkward to learn, but very rewarding if you do learn him. Only one problem I have with Dante is that some of his moveset feels a bit redundant.
Yeah.
Like for example, Pandora, you only really use the minigun in terms of like effectiveness. The other stuff you only use it as a combo finisher or stuff like that.
I know some of y'all already typed in chat when we started the matchup, but like I'm not gonna scroll up and like try to figure out where the count started. So I would ask you to type again. 2 for DMC, 3 for DMC, 3 for Kirby, 4 for DMC. Okay, anyone else want to vote? If not, then okay, that's 5 for DMC, I think.
DMC 1, we'll have guessed. The underdog coming at top.
Okay. So I feel like if Dead Space had survived the first round, then it would have been more one-sided. Toward like DMC4. Okay. Ninja Gaiden 2 versus Melty Blood, actors again. Ninja Gaiden 2, another very stupid, silly, stupid game. Fuck man, I meant to give it a little bit of play before this. I mean, I play it pretty regularly, so it's pretty fresh in my mind, but I still want to like get through Mentor and then Master Ninja difficulty to really get like a full assessment of where this game kind of goes. My running theory, like the thing I don't like about NG1 is that it has these pretty overpowering like centralizing mechanics with Izuna drop and flying swallow, right? And then the way the game addresses it is by just making enemies block a lot. And it's not in a way that's like super frustrating, but it's definitely not as interesting as it could be, right? I think NG2, my prediction is that game's solution to that is to just throw as much shit at you as possible. Obviously, this game is very famous for the projectile spam and all that. And I think it's fair to say that no other action game is quite as avant-garde with that. I'm curious, like maybe Raph, have you sort of played the higher difficulties, explored that more? Do you think maybe my theory there, my comparison is accurate, or what's this game?
Oh, what's happening? I'm getting possessed by the spirit of Luna.
Wait, yeah, hold on. I've got a full thing for this. I want to go into Ninja Gaiden 2 for a bit. I've got a full thing for this. It's really funny that we started talking about Melty Blood being like my favorite neutral in fighting games in terms of like a competitive mode, where Ninja Gaiden 2 is literally my favorite neutral game in terms of a character action game or 3D action in general. The entire system of its way it works around mechanically about maintaining as much iframes and invulnerability and while dealing with like a whole sort of enemies as possible. You're constantly in a back and forth of controlling or space where you are surviving. At its peak in Ninja Gaiden 2, when you have a whole bunch of enemies where you're having to approach them, de-limbing the worst enemies out of the way so they're stop throwing exploding kunai at you, while also taking care of making sure they're always traversing around the arena and dodging, and making sure that you're having a careful, healthy amount of invincibility frames. It's incredible. It's probably like when people say like more iframe. When people say that like more iframes generally doesn't necessarily mean good, and in the way it works with Ninja Gaiden 2. In the way it's like practically a resource that you're constantly having to refresh, it makes for something truly incredible. And it's so sad that I'm putting both of these two games together in my head right now.
I feel like obviously we talked a little bit in the 2004 episode about what made Ninja Gaiden 1 special, and I still think the essence mechanic in that game has a lot of merit, right? But then with what you said, the fact that because you're so under this constant fucking assault of shit, you have to be even more careful with how you exploit that, with the risk-reward balance between how how to use the essence orbs, right? It's very, very cool. But it's also like the worst game ever. Sometimes, you know, it's the fucking worm, man, and the fucking like what are some other goofy bosses? Like, I don't know.
The turtle blowing up on you.
Oh my god, yes.
That's
yeah, that's the one so funny. But yeah,
oh yeah, you said
I can speak for a bit.
You're more of a
I think
skeptic, right?
everyone knows I'm a UT-ader. I think it undermines a lot of mechanic which is present. And I think it got worse with 2, like, because in Black, each UT attack had his own function, like a burst versus one enemy versus clearing a bunch of tiny enemy, but in 2 it's just a cinematic attack for every single weapon. And the way the game works, especially on harder difficulties, you kind of encourage to abuse the UT. And consider how much enemies dies, you can always refresh a fast way of getting by absorbing essence. And I think that's a bit of I guess a missed opportunity, because Ninja Gaiden 2 has a huge combo list of unique moves, but most of the time you're just gonna be using stuff.
Yeah,
I still think it's a cool game. There's rarely a 3D game that puts as much shit on the screen as this one.
Yeah, I think the point about the lack of variety with UT is super fair. That's something I didn't think about that much, actually, to be honest. I guess the other thing with, you know, abusing the iframes, right? It really depends on how compelling you find that aspect of the game, right? If you find the essence mechanic compelling.
Yeah.
Because I do agree with you that it seems sort of wasteful to have all these cool combos and then it's not really viable the deeper you get into the game. But I do, I personally, I do find the risk reward of the essence really compelling, and I think in Energy 2 specifically, I mean Sigma, they changed the economy, and I think that's a pretty big dent in that version of the game, right? I do think that really matters to like tie the whole package together.
Yeah, it's Sigma 2 is pretty weird because you can only level up weapons once per shot, but you don't waste any essence. It's a bit of a weird change, to be honest.
Yep. It's like, I think this is, the NG2 is definitely the ideal, like, it's a 3 out of 10, but a 10 out of 10. Well, I mean, I guess this applies to DMC4 as well.
in fairness, even my...
NG2 is my DMC4. Sorry.
Oh my god, is Melty gonna take it? Oh, fuck.
Even my...
No! What? Wait. Y'all are not serious. This is crazy.
I wasn't even really thinking about it. Just type Melty because I heard Melty.
Okay, I'm gonna... This cements. I was open to play Melty. I will never hop on now. Fuck y'all.
Hop on both of these.
I'm gonna be.
Okay, there we go. NG2.
I appreciate you, bro, but it's like it's a futile effort.
Yeah, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And also, one thing to be fair about Ninja Gaiden 2, even my favorite Team Ninja games, Neo 2, had some bullshit, had some what were they thinking design to them. So
Neo 2 is so much worse than Ninja 2. Fuck that game. Sorry.
You haven't seen the vision yet.
Okay, it's time for, oh my god, the greatest game of all time.
Hey, let's
Bangai-O
go.
Spirits. Yes, let's fucking go. You said you got into this one really recently, right? And I think you were kind of surprised with how much you liked it, right?
Yeah. I think some people here have a treasure game that's like the one they love, and I think Bangai-O Spirits will be mine in due time.
Yes,
because it appeals to all my vibes. It's a mission type game which I love. It's more about mitigating damage rather than outright avoiding it. And also, I like how we aren't really stuck in stun animation for that long. Like, we get stuck, but it's basically a warning for you to activate the dash and get out of the way. I also like that aspect that we aren't like at the mercy of each stun. If you get hit, then we always have a way out. And I also appreciate how we can kind of create our own cover. I think that's how I imagined it when I started playing it. Because the way missiles work, like, do you know that part in the Marvel's Capcom 3 CGI movie when Dante and Deadpool are shooting at each other and deflecting bullets with their own bullets? That's like how it feels to play Bangai-O. you're only using your bullets both offensively and defensively to create a gap for you to either throw any X or get out of the way, and I really love that aspect of it. It encourages like aggressive, aggressive, always moving forward defense.
Yeah, so
it's a really cool game. I love it.
For those who don't know, the Bangai-O series, it's a series of these free-scrolling, side-on, quote-unquote run-and-gun type of games, except your character's a little robot, or actually a giant robot, but it's tiny on the screen, and they can fly in all directions and shoot in all directions. And what made the series kind of famous is with the first game you have this counter mechanic where you could charge up this barrage of missiles, and then the closer the enemy fire gets to you before you release the charge, the more powerful the charge will be, right? That was sort of the whole hook of the original Bangai-O. This game goes for the... Yeah, John's posting the GIF in chat. Like, I think that's a pretty accurate representation of the game. With Spirits, it sort of goes the Mario Maker, Trackmania, Doom route of being this insane sandbox where you can make your own levels, and there's just... Like, the original Japanese DS version was literally just, like, 300 levels by Treasure made with the level editor, completely disorganized with no structure to speak of. And one of the reasons that is so interesting in this particular game is because I've always jokingly called it an immersive sim arcade game. Obviously, maybe that's a little bit silly, right? But the big selling point of this one is the fact that it is very much a game about, like, subtle properties that attacks and enemies may have, and then they interact with each other very naturally and very organically. So, for example, there is, like, a rudimentary physics system, like, things can bounce at kind of different angles, depending on how you hit them, and you have many different weapons to choose from, right? And then, for example, one property might be, okay, bullets pass through other bullets, or bullets bounce off of walls, or bullets always explode on contact. And then you can imagine, okay, depending on the enemy type, you have to kind of think how you can think very naturally and very logically about how about how this may address certain problems. For example, you have enemies that always counter, right? But then if you're like, well, okay, if my thing explodes on contact, that's not gonna be a problem, right? They're still gonna get damaged. And then you can still hit enemies at weird angles and shit, right, to make stuff work. It has this really frantic, like, fast-paced... Again, like, most of the levels that are included with the game are really, really short. They're really shitposty as well. It has this... It's not the typical, okay, I'm gonna play through this, like, 1 hour experience that's super tightly designed like an Alien Soldier or something, right? It has way more of a puzzle angle to it, but in a way, it's a puzzle game where instead of solving puzzles, you actually solve problems, right? It's
an immersive state.
Yeah,
like
the word problem solving, obviously I didn't just come up with that, right? That is a common thing in a game, in games. But I think this one's sort of different because it's still very much, it feels structured like a set of puzzles that are sort of supposed to be linearly solved, but the game just gives you a billion fucking different tools to, like, do whatever you want with it. And dude, it's so good. It's so good. It's peak.
Yeah, I really like how it encourages you to look at the entire map as its own thing. And, like, if I bring this, I have to be careful because I can break down this wall, and then other enemies will come in droves. So maybe I should take something that doesn't bounce and has more control, or other stuff like that, and makes you really think about the tools you have in comparison to the map you're playing.
I'm sorry, I just went on this insane rant. Does anybody else want to say anything about this game? Like, really quick.
Yeah, Wipeout's really cool. I think it's hard to compare the two because Wipeout is about this really tight granularity. You have to, like, go on, like, a level by level basis to really explain how it works. But Bangai-O, it's just such good systems, man.
Thanks, Raph.
Yeah, if you voted for Burnout, like I said, it'd be more of a comparison.
I'd also like to add Bangai-O is truly the most well-paced game ever made. It tells you all the mechanics, and then the credits roll.
That's so fucking true, dude.
It ends before it all has a chance to get stale.
I do say I'll say like one of the funniest things about Wipeout HD is that they just like they don't explain any mechanics and they throw like one of the most technical tracks in the game at the very start. They're just like, yeah, good luck. Do drive it perfectly or you can't win.
Yeah, these seem like very diametrically opposed games.
Okay, Zed, I'm gonna need you to make a thing like at the end of this. Put all like the levels people have been posting. Put all the sound files in at the end of this episode, so people can just play it on their DS.
Yes. Okay. So, the reason I went on this insane rant, right, is because I just know so many people don't know about this game, right? They're not aware of it at all. Which is like, just for me, the level of quality and it's a level of popularity. There's an insane mismatch, right? One really insane cool thing is that the way the level sharing works, you make your own levels and you can obviously share them with friends, but the way it works is that the game converts the level data into a sound file, and the idea is that you hold the speakers of the sending DS to the microphone of the receiving DS, and it actually fucking works, and it's so cool, and like you can still play the game on an emulator that way. You can,
which is a pain setup on some levels, by the way.
Yeah. You can receive sound files from your PC on your DS. That's how Hot Pocket made a level that was really cool that I played on my DS. It's so sick. Okay. It's Mirror's Edge versus Rhythm Heaven. Do you have any big...
These are weird mashup.
Do you have any big Mirror's Edge heads?
Raph, I need to hear you say about Mirror's Edge speedrun right now here.
I'm a hater. I'm a Mirror's Edge hater.
Well, okay, so Monroe has
left. You see the credits?
Okay, well, don't spoil the speedrun. Jesus Christ. What the hell? Oh, that's my whole bit now. Monroe has a weird thing against Asian women. I want to put that out in public on this podcast. Ooh, filibuster. Mirror's Edge is really cool. It's like accidentally deep, right? I think most people when they approach the game, it's this very linear, set piece, aesthetically driven game where you're just hitting the buttons where they want you to hit the buttons. But this game, much like Mario 64, has an insanely lenient wall jump. You can wall jump off of literally anything in this game. And it doesn't matter how tiny the geometry is. And what that means is when you're doing the post game, when you're doing the time trial stuff, you find that the routing these levels is just insanely open ended and tactical and complex in a way that you rarely get in any sort of platformer. It's just the freedom of that compared with all these accidentally technical elements there's the mantle system, right, where you climb up a ledge. There's different mantle animations based on what height you are when you start the mantle, which is something meant for immersion, but it actually adds depth to the routing because you're trying to hit a very specific height to get a specifically short animation. And it's the whole game was full of weird ass unintentional stuff like that. If you get into it, it's really fun, but I can see it being more of a niche title. It's a Mario Sunshine kind of game.
I don't have any problems with Asian women. I just want to get that out there right now.
I think one of the problems that one of the perception problem with this game is how it guides you through with the red line things, because it makes the map design be more linear than it actually is, when there's actually a lot of way faster options than the one the game tries to funnel you towards.
See, I guess one question I've always had with this game, I've always played it only very casually, right? And I was pretty recently made aware of how insanely technical it is, right? How much incidental weird tech there is and how far you can push it. But I still sort of had the impression that maybe unlike some other platformers, a lot of the movement is sort of contextual and dependent on the environment, or it hinges on the environment in a way.
Yeah, it's very much about paired animation, but there's still a good amount of freedom with those because there's so a lot of them. Like when you're while running, you can. I think there's a button to turn 180 to jump to the other side, and there's a lot of stuff like that that doesn't make it feel as I guess strict as the word paired animations make it sound.
Yeah, I guess like for me the question is like, how much fun can I have with it without specifically learning the speedrun tech, right? Because like I feel like Mario 64, I can play it very normally and like understand how deep the movement is.
I think even without the out of bounds or speedrun tech, there's still a good amount of open-ended options for you to explore. You just have to look at the map and not look as much at the red things.
Yeah.
Yeah, do the time trials. Like those also have like better level design than the rest of the game. Like,
okay. Maybe that's what
just do those.
I think it's actually unironically like a DMC4 type situation, where it's like, okay, it's campaign, and I think the campaign is also like a little bit unfinished as well. Like there's a sequence right at the end that's like almost seems like a boss fight, but it's like a cutscene, and then people have found like cut files where it's actually there. Like the final encounter was meant to be a more comprehensive thing, and they've like put it back in the game. But I think there's like, I don't know, I'm trying to think. I think the hard mode of this game, there is a mode that like also de-emphasizes the amount of red items in the environment. So you have to do a little bit more like, you have to do a little bit more routing on your own.
I guess maybe real quick, does anyone have thoughts on Catalyst? I know that was a pretty controversial sequel.
I don't like
it. Let's not do that game.
Okay. I feel like some people sort of like it. I feel like there was sort of a revisionist history there, maybe.
The most I've heard about it is that the final mission is kind of crazy, but I never played it myself.
Okay.
I tried to like it, but I mean, it really kind of like digs into the whole like, how do we expand on a game that like kind of had like a very simple like game structure, and it's like, oh, let's put a skill tree in it, and it's like it's I don't enjoy unlocking moves that like were just like defaults in the original game. The story is terrible. Like I don't really know like if anyone gives a shit about like Mirror's Edge 1's story. I mean, it's there just to be there, but like this story is like a little bit more in your face, and everyone in it is an asshole to Faith for no reason, really. I don't know. It's probably a fun game after like you unlock most of the moves in the skill tree, but I got bored. I fell off it. Just play Mirror's Edge 1.
Catalyst was written by Rihanna Pratchett, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Tomb Raider 2013 has that same problem that everyone is an asshole just to put the main character in an higher pedestal.
Oh, what a vote!
See, maybe this was like this was my strategy to like bring down the vibe a little bit by bringing up Catalyst so that Rhythm Heaven has more of a shot. Actually, it's not what I said at all.
I think Mirror's Edge is more of a vibes game, to be honest.
It's also I was gonna say it's sort of an apple tail situation as well, because I think it's had a more like a female led development team, all the leads and stuff.
Pretty cool.
Good thing we voted for it. Now we can dodge the
misogyny allegations.
I sort of have this suspicion that like I don't know, my bias tells me that DICE, they seem very sausage fest coded. But, like I don't know if that's like again I have no way to fucking back that up.
I think it has changed in the last few years, if I recall correctly. But yeah, the big matchup.
Okay,
oh my God,
it's time for DMC4 versus Melty Blood. I guess does anyone want to make an argument for one or the other really strongly?
What are your thoughts on
DMC4 put hair on my chest.
On what?
Never mind.
DMC4 put hair on my chest.
French bread could make Devil May Cry 4, but Inafune can. Sorry, shit. I already screwed it off. French Bread could make Devil May Cry 4,
CVS2.
but Capcom could never make Melty Blood Actress again.
Itsuno literally made CVS2, which I like. I think the normals in CVS2 are sort of French bread coded, right? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm
maybe
giving out too much credit, but
I don't know. Like I could be really evil and like fight against Devil May Cry 4's campaign issues and stuff like that. But even I know that doesn't even really matter to me when I play Devil May Cry 4. Like it's a pretty incredible game.
The DMs4 campaign doesn't exist. It's only the Bloody Palace.
I guess I should be fair. I guess I should be fair and bring up Melty Blood issues. There are like 2 to 3 genuinely top tier characters that, if played, it's just make it almost impossible for you to be able to viably play against them. But they're not bad enough to be banned, but they are enough to where they can reduce the level of depth that's played against in a match. But also counterpoint against that, almost everyone in this game is viable. Melty Blood, like for real, almost everyone in the game is viable.
I've seen tournaments where people playing the mecha characters and they're doing extremely well, and it's like this game's so good.
I'll say it's connected to Tsukihime, which I think is like the strongest argument against it possible.
That's also true.
I still don't know what that is.
Honestly,
but also you like Tsukihime so far.
So it's 4 for Melty, 2 for DMC4.
Melty's got Neko work in it, dog. Like, come on, just vote for it.
I just want to say, I think one time at a what's the word? A convention. Goddamn, convention. I think I heard someone like blasting DA Lit from a bathroom. And I'm pretty sure that was Melty Blood fans.
Oh no!
I feel like this in a long time. I feel like this in a long time.
It was crazy. I think I gotta respect Melty Blood players just for the bathroom jokes.
Dude,
for
Cardi,
like 300 years.
Cardi
I'm always gonna have a bias.
No. Oh my god.
I'm just always gonna have a bias towards Melty just because like my big like friend group was like into it for a really long time, and that's kind of like how I got closer to them.
Okay, the Wrath.
Alright, y'all have to play Melty Blood with me after that.
Cinched it.
I'm glad I didn't vote because this one was actually really.
Okay, I appreciate the Melty stands with me here, but y'all do need to play the game, please.
No.
I have
played definitely not
this. I said Ninja Gaiden 2 cemented it. This double cemented it. I will not be hopping on. Fuck all y'all.
Damn.
Okay, it's it's Bangai-O Spirits versus Mirror's Edge. Listen, guys, if Bangai-O gets to #1, we can like do something good. Okay.
I mean, I like Mirror's Edge, but Bangai is Bangai.
Who?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well,
I think
Bangai wins.
I was like, oh, I better type my vote in, but
Jesus,
Bangai-O.
sweet.
And then finally, it's Melty Blood versus Bangai-O. So that's the first vote for Bangai from John. 2 for Melty, 2 for Bangai-O, 3 for Bangai-O, 4 for Bangai-O, 5 for Bangai-O. Is it?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Oh shit. Okay. Wait. One row setting. Also...
Oh yeah.
Okay, wait.
Sorry.
That's vote 6.
3 for Melty? Okay.
That's 6. Gary put the last one.
Okay, maybe I'll hop on Melty after all. I've cooled off a little bit.
That's why everyone voted.
I've cooled off a little bit. Okay, congrats to the winners. Woo!
Hey.
This is I can't believe it that Ninja Gaiden 2 didn't make it. That's crazy.
I had to make the choice. I didn't make the choice. I abstained.
Dude, fucking Mirror's Edge made it over. I mean, it's a cool game, probably. Like,
no one likes this.
I do feel like
Melty Blood 4 answered. There's like no way, dude.
For what it's worth, I do feel like Melty Blood is probably one of the, like, if I had like to pick like my top 5 like coolest speedruns to know the ins and outs of tech and stuff, like Mirror's Edge would be in the top 5 for sure. Like it's just such a cool speed run.
Okay, I think that is one I maybe like after this I'm kind of curious to dive more into it. Yeah. Also,
I do feel Mirror's Edge got an easy bracket.
Yeah.
compared to everyone else.
Y'all were just too like I think For Answer could have done it. But y'all love the memes, yeah.
I had to wait. Sorry.
Okay. Oh yeah, one thing I thought of Mirror's Edge's FPS boost on Xbox, so that's pretty cool.
All right, I gotta head out so I can go get some food.
Oh
Have
shit!
fun, everyone.
See you, Luna.
Bye.
See ya.
Later.
Have a good one.
2009, our final fucking year. Damn.
Wait, Yak 3 actually got on?
I think we have a surprising amount of Yakuza 3 stands here.
Yep.
I thought that was a bit. I'm sorry.
Wait, Minecraft's listed as 2009?
Yes.
I don't, to be honest, yeah.
I thought it would be 2011.
Kevin, I'm also unsure how exactly that count works. Is
this just off of IGDB?
Was that the early access release? Or the
Dude, I think the early access release, like I was in elementary school when during the alpha. That was
yeah, I think we just went off IGDB and like that's probably it.
No,
But
IGDB
whatever.
I think would list it as 2011.
2010. IGDB
That's
puts,
also wrong.
dude,
What?
yeah, that's hold on. Okay, backlog polls from IGDB.
Yeah,
Was
this is
2009 one of the betas or the full release?
It was
Considered
public in
full.
09.
Is that the earliest it was public?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well then I think.
okay.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Oh,
fine, yeah.
well, that's what it is.
2010 is gonna be so funny with the early assets games.
No, we get to put Minecraft in again in 2011.
Let's go.
Okay. Honorable
No,
mentions.
You have
I
to
don't
put
know.
all the console releases of Minecraft.
Minecraft Wii U sweep. Let's fucking go. Okay, my honorable mention is Skate 2. Fuck, love Skate 2. I think it has. I never really liked the map in Skate 3. It's very sort of set piecey and like very downhilly kind of. It's very difficult to traverse. I think 2 was kind of the perfect balance between Skate 1's really fun map and like slight refinement in some ways. I think Skate to this day has just a really unique sense of physicality in the world. The way you attach to rails, for example, like clearly there is a magnetism to it. There's a design to. It's not just completely unfettered chaos, right? To how it kind of works. But it still feels very organic and I'm gonna say the meme word, loose. Yeah, just a very chill, nice game that really speaks to me. Cool. Okay. So Hapaka has written down Brogue. I know, Raph, that's a game you've memed on a little bit, right?
I think it's one of the best RPGs ever made, unironically. It's basically a classic roguelike. It has this sort of sim, really technical simulation mechanics, but massively streamlined to just the most interesting, the most simplistic, the most understandable interactions, right? So it's like gas and fire and elements. You have rivers that dynamically wash your objects downstream. You have destructible terrain. You have enemies that belong to different factions with various forms of infighting. You have all these wacky spells that move you up and down and throughout rooms and all this stuff. And what makes it so interesting is it's one of the few games that can build this very complex expressive systems while also being very, very, very tightly balanced. A lot of very tactical situations where you're constantly acid fire. I'm sorry. Gas fire, Kino, raw swag, goat.
Is it the one with ASCII art?
Yes, you can install like graphics, but what makes it so interesting is it's ASCII art, but like made in a way that's actually very pretty. It actually has a lot of little twists to the coloring scheme and like sort of rainbow effects to make it look decently polished.
Okay, I'm very shallow like that, you know, so like that's always turned me off a little bit. But I think I should probably give it a more serious shot. Yeah.
You know, it's definitely like I think when Hot Pocket played it, he immediately read a review like this clears every RPG ever. This clears dungeon design of every game ever JRPGs watched. He deleted it because it was too toxic, but he was right.
What? Oh,
fuck yeah. John, you picked the most me game of all time, Bayonetta came out in 2009.
It was a little angel and devil on my shoulder, and it was like this or Modern Warfare 2.
Which one was the devil of the angel?
I think that was the devil. I think that one's like, you know, enemies in the Burger Town, and I go, fuck yes, this game's awesome. No, Bionic Commando, it's a. I think Half-Life 2 Issa was saying was like we didn't hate on the game enough. Bionic Commando is like legitimately sort of underrated. Cool integration of its grappling and its combat, you know, because it's a shooter. It's like you're able to, you know, maintain like your fire on the enemies while you're doing the traversals. So that's a cool feel. And they've thought about the moves. You know, you go and you gain some air and you go to and do one of those like death from above attacks. It's a cool game. You pick it up for $2 in Steam, you have a good time, and you play it and you fight the guys who are like the dollar store Romanovs from Vanquish, and you go, oh, yeah, they thought about this more than not at all.
I think it has pretty good pacing as well. Like it's it's pretty no nonsense. It doesn't really have. I think because you have a pretty compelling movement system, they probably didn't feel the need to have sort of cinematic set piece interruptions. Right? It's pretty pure gameplay. I mean, it has loading times and stuff, but like it feels pretty seamless.
Yeah, I was doing a sequence last night with a bunch of snipers, and it was like, okay, this is just a really clean integration of like you have to avoid their line of fire and move through this sort of very vertical environment, and make good use of the grappling and the just all the like idiosyncrasies of it. And it's a cool section.
Nice. Evan had written down Runman Race Around the World. I have no idea what that is. Does anyone know what that is?
We could make something up.
Oh, isn't that the Maddie Thorson's like one of her like original games?
Oh yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, Evan had one of her other games as well in one of the early areas. I'll have the box art on screen, so yeah, check that out. Pang had written down Picross 3D. Raph, do you have a paragraph for that? I think that's when him and Hot Pocket were playing recently, right?
Right. Well, I mean, first qualifier. Picross 3D Round 2 is the better game. It sort of linearly improves on the game format. You should play Round 2 instead. Basically, it's a cool twist on Picross where you're sort of chiseling away at a three-dimensional block instead of a traditional flat image, right? Everything is on a grid, but it's a three-dimensional grid with X, Y, Z axis. It actually adds new idioms, new mechanics to regular Picross, and in the cases where you actually have to examine multiple layers of this sort of complex statue, it makes for really challenging puzzles that go far beyond your typical, 2D Picross. I don't like 2D Picross personally. Like, not paying. I don't like 2D Picross at all, but 3D Picross is sick.
I need to hop on that. I've never played 3D Picross yet. Can I just say, idioms is how I know that Pang wrote that shit.
Oh yeah.
That boy be using words. Okay, Gary, you have written down Dead Rising Chop Till You Drop. That's a very interesting pick.
Yeah, I like that game a lot. Not because it's actually good, but because it's like it stands out as like this kind of interesting game that was in an era where it's like you had games like Dead Rising coming out for Xbox 360, and then you had the Nintendo Wii just like getting games that were just like completely different versions of like what that original game was. And then like Chop Till You Drop, for anyone who doesn't know, it's just like, what if Dead Rising 1, but we just like made it a skin of Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, like sure. And it's like it doesn't do anything like as technically interesting as Dead Rising 1 does. Like, there's not nearly as many zombies on screen. Like, everything's like very linear. It's not like open. It's not as open, but it's just like a fascinating kind of like not port of a game, but like just a completely different version of it that exists on a console that like obviously couldn't have the original. It's great. It's so weird.
I should definitely try that, like, out of curiosity, isn't it? Yeah.
It's definitely worth just like taking a look at.
Okay, Ryan, do you have an honorable mention that you want to shout out? Okay, maybe
in an ideal universe, it would have been Final Fantasy 13. Why the fuck is this on here, bro? John, why did you vote for this?
I felt bad.
I didn't want to have to talk about
it. No.
Yeah.
I felt.
Oh,
I felt bad for knocking off all the other games that you voted for.
Yeah, the 13 placement is a psyop. Like, we don't actually like that game. Like, don't worry, y'all. Raph, do you have anything?
I forgot. Did Resident Evil 5 already make it on here? It did, right?
It did, yeah. That's one
I
for
can just look
racism.
at the screen. I'm so stupid. Why didn't I just look at the screen? Scrolling the list.
Let's say Modern Warfare 2.
Strange Journey. Shin Megami Tensei. Strange Journey. Might have been a 2008 game in Japan. I don't know. It's, I think, the Entry and Odyssey team, or maybe like they were trying to make an Entry Odyssey style SMT. I can't remember what
I think Landcars is the name of the studio that makes Entry and Odyssey.
Yeah, I think they had a hand in this game. I'm trying to think of good things to say without slandering it. Oh, it's one of the few SMTs where the story is like very upfront. It's not like Nocturne where it's buried kind of deep, or it's a game where Twitter won't like it, right? Because you can't enjoy it for the mechanics at all. Really cool setting, Antarctica. A lot of characters. They're all poorly written. The dungeons are bad. The bosses are kind of bad. The fusion system's bad. But it's absolutely gorgeous. One of the coolest settings in a video game. 6 out of 10.
That's the thing. Strange Journey is like one of the most theoretically cool games. But like, man, like I totally agree with everything you're saying, right? Like setting awesome, but like then the actual writing is piss, and the combat is even worse than the others too, in my opinion.
It's actually amazing.
The thing is, like, it's like if you can get into it, if you could ignore all the bad stuff, it is actually peak. It's just you gotta be in a really good mood to play it. You have to like mark spots on your map by stepping on every single individual tile because there's no drawing system, right? You don't have the Entry and Odyssey drawing system, so you have to. Oh my god! Oh,
I wonder how much better the writing would feel if. Like, how much is the writing? How much is it the localization? Because it does feel partly like a localization issue.
Yeah. Also, I think they didn't hire like a professional writer like they did for Digital Devil Saga, so it's kind of like, let's have Kaneko write stuff.
I had so many. I had such a like. I'm sorry we're spending so much time on it, but like I had such a Twitter meltdown rant on it when I played it. Like just posting all the just the lyrical highlights from the dialogue. It's, you wouldn't think that it's as bad as it is. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. Okay. Sugar, do you have one? Do you have an auto mention for 2009?
I mentioned 2 games real quick.
Yeah, sure.
First one's Tower of Heaven. For being kind of like a logic puzzle platformer, and with killer soundtrack and shit. I forget who exactly worked on it, but ASCII Soft is like the studio behind it. The other one is This Is the Only Level, and again, another sort of logic puzzle platformer, kind of like emblematic to me of the creativity in Flash games from around that time, where it experiments with having to refresh the browser window and everything to progress through levels and stuff like that, and other weird like meta shit going on to actually complete levels and puzzles.
That sounds so sick. Cool. You said, do you have an honorable mention for 09?
Yeah, I don't know if this is cheating, but if people somehow pick the written with stock with my very bad explanation, but only can play one of the series, I recommend Call of Pripyat. For once, it actually works without any sort of fan fixes. The gunplay is actually not terrible. You get dropped in this huge map. In this huge map with open-ended objectives that you can complete in any order. So, and in the first 5 minutes, you see the appeal of Stalker right away. You walk forward, you might see a bandit get mauled by dogs, and then some stalkers just coming in out of nowhere and get into a 3-way fight. And it's also the basis of a lot of popular free roam survival mods that are more well known than the actual games. So I think it is a good first step on into the series if you only can play one game of the series.
Nice. Kime, do you have?
I don't have anything to.
Oh, sorry, Ryan. Do you want to say anything?
If Kime has one, I'll let him go first. All right.
I'll be right back.
I wasn't gonna say anything about it, but ODST.
Yes, dude.
It's weaker Halo 3, but you can't really.
It's Halo.
Go wrong with it.
Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have a lot of issues with that game. But it's hard to hate on overall. Sort of like Halo 2, right?
Well, let's not be mean to ODST.
I feel like I like 2 more, honestly. But I mean that's I'm just a little unhinged like that.
I'm sorry.
Also the firefight mode makes it a 10/10.
Yes. For sure.
One of the best co-op experience ever.
Monroe, do you have an honorable mention for 09?
I do. Kingdom Hearts Days.
Oh shit! Okay, go for it.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say it's like the most amazing Kingdom Hearts game or anything like that. But as played out as the saying is, I do see the vision and what they were going for. I think that a lot of the monotony and going the day by day type of stuff, kind of really sells like, Roxas's day by day type of stuff. And it was designed that way, not just because it's a handheld, but because Roxas is like, you could like play it in small bursts if you're like on your way to the store or something, or like, school. And that's what I did. And it was just real cool, just a fun game. I like to see it remade sometime, but I don't know if they're gonna do that. Anyway, yeah, Goat Raw, Kino, Swag, Fire. Yeah, that's all I got.
Probably the best game in the Dragon Guard genre, right?
Oh my.
Yeah. The Dragon Guard argument actually worked here. It actually worked.
Okay, Kevin, do you have one?
I was just gonna go with DJ Hero.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Okay.
Yeah, it's probably the most unique piece of plastic I've bought to play a rhythm game ever. Love the soundtrack. DJ Hero 2 goes into more pop stuff. I like that DJ Hero 1 is just more classic, like DJing and like hip hop. And yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about DJ Hero.
That's one I always wanted to try because like we have. I mean, Pang is like our resident 2DX stand, right? 2DX is like apparently like the best rhythm game of all time, right? But I can't actually get the controller for it here. So I was figured, okay, DJ Hero is probably the next best thing.
Yep.
Okay, I think I'm still AFK, so we just gotta move on. I'm sorry. All right. First matchup, it's Punch-Out versus RE5. I just played a little of Punch-Out on stream. Well, Discord stream. Yeah, it was a private stream, but this is a cool game. I like it. Definitely very simple, but satisfying in its simplicity. Do we have like any Punch-Out experts? Maybe want to speak on it?
I beat Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, but if it's anything like that, it's goated.
Yeah, I think they're like this game specifically. Is very directly inspired by the NES game, from what I understand. Like, and not so much the Super Nintendo one. Yeah.
I think it's interesting that I think like this is like the only other Punch-Out game I really see besides the original one.
Yeah, I think Super. I think Super is like also good, right? But like people definitely didn't latch onto it as hard.
Mm-hmm. Super briefly was considered better than the original, but I feel like a lot of that was just people liking SNES more than NES. And over time, when people did actually go back to replay it, they realized it's like way more gimmicky and kind of feels jank because of it.
I sort of had the same surface level impression. Like I definitely on first touch, I definitely did like NES a little more. Raph, do you have some takes on this game specifically? Maybe I think you've definitely played it more than me.
Oh, I really love the game. I really loved the game until I got to the very end and I saw they replaced the black man with an actual ape. Not a cool thing to do. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea.
I mean,
Literally
already-
replaced him with Donkey Kong.
No,
Why would
they
they do
replaced
that?
him with a white guy originally, and then they replaced the white guy with an ape.
So true.
Oh, okay.
Well, here's
Is that
also the thing,
better or
right? Like,
worse?
I mean, you were drawing the Mike Tyson parallel, right? But like, it's not something that's invoked by the game itself, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Did we have like this? Did we have this like thing the other day on the server? Like, this is like 60% of racism discourse, right? Am I racist for drawing a connection that was not actually?
The joke
I
here
just
is
think
that we also got RE5, so you know.
Yes.
I was
Perfect
saying, I think it's
transition,
more
perfect
racist
transition.
than RE5.
Oh my god,
It's more
perfect.
racist.
Oh my god. Monroe, do you want to talk with the politics of RE5?
Honestly, this is just like the racism Olympics, so I don't know what to say. Like RE5 is, I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's cool. It's just that it's like, it's clear, it's still obviously not as good as 4. I do appreciate them doing an African, setting in Africa, because I can't really think of that many games just set in Africa in general. But probably not the best depiction, I would say. It just kind of goes downhill from there. And but we did get Chris punching boulders Redfield, so yeah.
I guess I'll say, yeah, the depiction feels very out of touch and very ignorant, right? I mean, if I want to be charitable, I would say like, like, Capcom, they make very market-friendly products usually, right? They try to not offend anybody. So which is not necessarily a point in their favor, but it leaves me to believe, okay, this was probably, they just didn't know what the fuck they were doing, right?
Yeah, I think it was more out of ignorance than maliciousness. That's if I had to guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll say RE5. I never played 8, so but from the ones I played, I think he's the one that like has the least unique stuff about it. Like it's RE4 with co-op basically, and a worse RE4 at that, compared to the other entries in the series, which I feel tried to do something different. The main line, at least. This one just feels okay. Yeah, this is RE4 now. Well, let's put Chris in Africa with his black friends, so he isn't racist, and let's add co-op to it. It's a decent game, but compared to RE4, it's like.
See, it's funny because like, I think the inventory management plus the analog turning, those are two things that make some people latch onto RE5 really hard. That game definitely has a big sort of speedrunning mercenaries high score kind of scene. Which is sorta cool. But I wouldn't say, I do think the campaign is just legitimately a lot weaker than RE4's, and like I'm in such a weird spot with this game because like RE4 is like one of my favorite games, right? Obviously we've talked about it to death. It rips off too much from RE4 to not be still like pretty fun. But I agree with you that it feels kind of redundant maybe. Yeah.
I'm kind of curious what like the larger consensus on Resident Evil 5 is these days too, because I remember for a long time it was kind of like the sign of like, Resident Evil like stagnating for a while after like Resident Evil 4's like big success, where it's like, oh, now we can never get a more traditional style Resident Evil game anymore. And it's like now we're with the remakes of like, 2, 3, and 4, and then they're probably going to remake 5 soon now. So it's like, do we feel better about Resident Evil 5 now in the scope of like now we're just like remaking them, and even Resident Evil 8 is trying to bank off of 4? Like I don't know. It's weird. I don't dislike it, but it's very strange game.
I think that's a really fair argument, yeah.
They should just skip to remastering Resident Evil 8.
I'll say one good thing about RE5 is that all your actions feel really good. Feel very, very, very crunchy.
Definitely, yeah. I was gonna say the remaster was the iPhone version for RE8.
It's got bad turret sections though. I'm not a fan of those, but it's at least like an okay game most of the time.
I was gonna read Pang's paragraphs, but it's like 5 paragraphs of him calling Shiva a biracial beauty, biracial goddess. I literally control F. He says jungle fever at one point. I'm like, I'm not reading that.
Raph, you're a menace. Oh my god.
I can't believe Pang would do this.
Where is that? You're gonna have to unlist this one.
Okay, it's 4 for Punch Out, and Ryan abstained, so I think that's it for Punch Out.
Yeah.
God.
Okay, whatever game one, it just be to be massacred by Bayonetta.
Oh yeah, that's sad. Okay, it's Infamous versus MadWorld. 2 kind of strange.
Oh man.
Sort of forgotten games. I mean, Pang is our resident routing guy. And I'm sure he would have a lot to say on MadWorld. I guess I feel my take on MadWorld is like the concept is really cool, but there's not enough to actually route with. Like the levels feel sort of empty and repetitive. And I definitely found myself doing kind of the same shit a lot. I feel like maybe if you got really into it, there's a lot of stuff maybe that I missed. But yeah. Does anyone want to like speak on either of these 2 games? I don't fucking know. Like, I think John, you're a big fan of Infamous, sort of, right?
Yeah, Infamous is just really cool. It's by the Sly Cooper guy, Sucker Punch.
Yes.
And it's from this era of open world third person shooter action game, and I think it wears all that stuff with really well. Like there's that part in Uncharted 2 where you're like hanging off a ledge and then you're shooting the guys, and it's like, oh, you can actually combine the parkour and the shooting together in a cool way. Like it's the only time in the campaign that it ever does that. And Infamous is all that. Infamous is all about these like vertical spaces, and you're using your like weird electric powers, and you have like 1 or 2 traditional like this is sort of equivalent to a sniper rifle or a pistol or something. And then the rest of your powers are about like kind of manipulating the environment or thinking about how to like navigate around it. So you have like this push power, and you can like push cars into guys and blow them up. You have like your grenade shot, so you can stand below like a rooftop, and it might be suicide for you to run out there and try to like take them on normally, but you can like arc your grenade. And even things like the regenerating health, you can stay behind cover and regenerate your health, but it's because you're fueled by electricity, so you can run around and try to find some kind of electrical source. And I think it comes together really well. It is actually sort of like an NG2 situation where like the best parts of this game are, here's a city block that's full of enemies, and there are at different elevations, and there are some that are shooting rockets that you can reflect. And there's a couple others that have like similar powers as yours, and like how do you pick them apart? And whenever the game is just doing like that really fundamental stuff, it's a really compelling like action shooter.
I really need to replay this one. When you're saying all this, like I think back to it, it's actually I'm kind of shocked how it kind of swung for the fences and how many things it kind of tried to do, and how it was this really organic freeform experience. Very, very cool.
I think it was also one of the first times when like I was a kid, and I got my PlayStation 3. Infamous was probably like the 3rd game I got after like Metal Gear Solid 4, and I was a big fan of Sly Cooper 2 and 3. I didn't really like 1 as much, but it was one of the first times where I looked and I was like, oh, Sucker Punch. These are the guys that made Sly Cooper. And then I played Infamous, and like I was noticing like little things from it that like kind of reminded me of Sly Cooper. Like a lot of the ways that like you can navigate like the open world in that game is really cool. Like all the, I guess not the combat so much, but like little design things that like stuck out to me. I thought that was always kind of like, that was like the first time that I really kind of like noticed that between like the same developer and like other games. I also really, really like Infamous. Infamous 2 is also very, very good.
Yeah.
I'll say also that while the binary choice is very off the time, and narratively is just whatever. in terms of gameplay, you're basically picking between 2 drastic play styles. Either good guy, more controlled type of gameplay, or bad guy. I don't care who gets hurt. Throw a bomb that splits into another bomb. Whoever dies. type of gameplay, which I really like, despite narratively the morality shots being very whatever.
Yeah, it ends up being like, I mean, it's cool that like you at least like get different moves depending on, because like there's a different like I think skill tree that you can spec into for doing like like evil and good actions.
Yeah, but it runs into the same problem as the other games that used it. That you are either full good or full bad. You can't really mix and match.
Right.
I feel like does anyone have MadWorld takes? Ryan, I feel like maybe you're like do you have? I feel like you've probably played this one. Like it seems like a new game. No, you haven't played it.
The one I remember offhandedly, it was just me and John. I was like, oh, maybe I'll try MadWorld someday. And he was like, you don't have to.
I played MadWorld hater.
I'm not a hater. I think it's one of those, like, in an era of rentals, I would say this is totally, you play this for the weekend and don't think too hard about it. And I was playing some last night. I sort of agree with you. It's like, I think if this is closer to like a Jet Set Radio and there was like a scoring system and you had to think about, chaining different kills together, there's some stuff there. And there's even like the there's like a little bit of like enemy manipulation where you can like toss multiple enemies. If you throw one guy into like a spike wall, you can catch other guys and they all get caught in the trap as well. But there's not that much there. And then because the game becomes like so boss focused by the end, it's like its fundamentals are not strong enough to support fighting a bunch of bosses all the time. So it's basically you're baiting out whatever the QTE is and like and doing the waggle, like just a series of like little QTEs to actually damage them. And it's like, okay, this is great as like a vapid one and done experience, but this is not something you should scrutinize.
I do really admire how much this game kind of stands out, right? Like the design of it was very clearly informed by the Wii. Even if you look at the graphics, right? I think they made a big deal that like, well, we went for this art style because like it's one of the things you could uniquely do on this underpowered console. It's just a little bit too sparse, a little bit too undercooked.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it's a very game feel type of game compared to everything else.
Yeah, I don't want to get like on an FBI list by just by describing some of the shit that you do in this game, but like it's very satisfying.
Yeah, it's interesting because this is like the shortest blurb Pang gave. Bender from Futurama complains about his ex-wife while you play.
It's not a good sign.
No, yeah, how those MadWorld fit in the racing scale?
Oh yeah.
I don't usually like hip hop, but the MadWorld soundtrack, damn. Man, music made in Japan just hits different, You just hit different. Okay. It's Minecraft versus Yakuza 3.
Wait, I had something to say about I had something to say about what was it? It was Infamous, right?
Yeah.
I think Infamous is truly like I thought it was like a really like kind of innovative game when I played it. Like, it had like that whole superhero sandbox thing, but it was pretty interesting. And I've played pretty much like all the Infamous games, and Infamous 1 still has the most interesting, like, I guess, like morality type choices that you make, because it's not just story choices. Even like the side quest, have like more in-depth morality to them. And it's like with each game it kind of decreased, especially like with what was it, the Second Son, where it just felt like they were just kind of just barely even there. But I don't know, I thought that that was a really cool game, and it had friction. Those things, the thing
I was gonna
gamers
say,
like
this feels like in the Infamous trilogy plus what's the one with the woman, with the girl,
First Light.
First Light. Sorry, I felt like a misogynist for forgetting both her name and the name of her game, right? So fuck.
How could you ever forget Neon?
I just want to say, like, the first Infamous is still like the dirtiest and grimiest one of all of them, which is sort of cool. Yep. So Minecraft versus Yakuza 3. Sugar, you're a big Minecraft head, right?
Yeah. I don't know where to start really, because like
it's a pretty monumental.
I feel like whenever
game,
whenever a game comes out touting itself as a sandbox, it ultimately positions itself against Minecraft as well, for the most part, with a few exceptions. Like, the only time they tend to differ is when it's more explicitly about like programming instead, like Roblox or something. But then the examples immediately after those two fall off a cliff because it's like, what do you do? Like, you could be playing. People say, "Oh, I prefer more survival-oriented things like Valheim or something like that." But even then, what? Like, I don't know. It's just the level of expression you can have in Minecraft in any version of it from alpha till today is just absurd, and people have. I don't know. It's so good. People argue over which way is the best way to play it because it's flexible enough. I don't know. It's so good at letting players pick the way they want to play and actually just complete it or what they want to engage with.
The security guy at my game design university, he was like always sitting there on his little laptop playing the Java version of Minecraft. Yeah, so sick.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I think in this server, Yakuza 3 has some big fans. I think Gary, you're like you like Yakuza 3 a lot, right?
Yeah, I like this game a lot. Yeah, I think that with Yakuza 3, the one thing that you can always kind of point to with like the series is that this is when okay, well, this is what people tell you. This is the game when Yakuza got kind of like stupid weird. Like Yakuza 2 and even like 1 like had like some weird things. Like Yakuza 2 even had like the fucking like weird like baby
The diaper
like
shit,
yeah, the diaper guys for that one mission. There's some funny stuff too, side missions. But then Yakuza 3 has like all this weird shit. Like it has like the fully realized like I think like it had like the beginning of like the cabaret mini game that comes back and forth and didn't really release in like the Western version of the game originally. It's got like a lot of weird returning characters from 2, like weird side missions like that. But that aside, like it's when the game like kind of like tried to, I guess, like get like a newer identity of like being this Japan simulator kind of thing, where like you're going between like Okinawa and Kamurocho, and like you're just kind of like doing like funny little side quests. You're doing the main story that's like really fucking batshit compared to 2's like I guess more grounded criminal like crime drama. It's like now Kiryu's running an orphanage and like the government is trying to bulldoze the orphanage to build like real estate, and it's like what
Very
like
real.
yeah. And it's like it's really weird, but I think it's also like kind of endearing, and it's like how like it still tries to like take itself like kind of seriously, but at the same time it's like also just like really fun. Like Yakuza 2 really did kind of like make the combat from 1 like a little bit more like engaging. Like there's a lot more like actual like systems, I don't know what else you'd call it, going on in 2, and then 3 kind of builds on that a little bit more. There's like a lot of like returning things, like being able to use your heat meter for more than just heat actions. You can like use them to like chain into like different like types of moves that use it. I don't know, I just really dig it. I guess we could like use the vibe buzzword for it too.
Yeah.
Because like Okinawa in the orphanage, like you really kind of have to like the vibe of that if you're gonna make it through like the first like hour or 2, because they really just make you like run that orphanage and talk to those kids.
I also think it contrasts very well with Yakuza 2, because the 2 has this gloomy, very moody atmosphere, while 3 has this sunny, very relaxed type of atmosphere that Okinawa provides, and I think that's a really, really cute contrast between both games.
Yeah.
A super Yakuza Sunshine.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, Kiryu has to clean up all the goo that's in Okinawa.
I know Pang has made the argument that this is he's always said that this is the most consistent side quest I've been in Yakuza. I'm always like a critical path guy with Yakuza. I know, but yeah, I can't really verify that. It's definitely one I like. Y'all have made me very curious to revisit this one. I definitely dug it at the time.
I think it's worth it. I think it's also probably like in the scheme of like other Yakuza games, it's probably to me, I remember it as like being one of the shorter ones, but maybe just because like there's not as much to do. Like you're still only playing as Kiryu in this one, whereas when you get to 4, 5, and 6, it's like it goes across like so many different characters and like things going on. It feels like this one's probably more digestible while also still kind of like having that spirit of like what the new age Yakuza games are.
That makes totally.
That's something to notice that the Western release got like 1/3 of its sub stories completely gutted, including one that you had to do the full cabaret, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we didn't get that until the remaster that came out like last year or the year before. Which I mean, like, oh no, I can't play the cabaret minigame, but also it's like it's still nice to have that now, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's a shame. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Also, one big problem with Yakuza is that the combat can be intrusively repetitive and kind of bad.
Blockuza 3.
Yeah, and you early on you don't have like all the tools to deal with the custom blocking, so you're just doing a 180 dodge to attack their backs and do that a bunch of times until the boss is dead.
I guess like it's a shame that the remaster itself is sort of scuffed because I think the 60 FPS messes up some stuff. It makes some stuff with the combat like less consistent or whatever.
Yeah, it either makes Kiryu overshoot or undershoot depending on the version.
Oh my god. Yeah. That's why. Yeah, I guess. See, if I went back, I would probably still play on PS3, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're on PC,
yeah,
that's probably most of it.
Yeah, you could either just cap it at 30, right, on PC, or you could just emulate it. So it's pretty cool. So wait, that's 4. No, it's 3 for Minecraft. Anyone else want to vote? 1 for
I'll vote Yakuza Z, even though I was cheating on the combat.
No, that would be the one that votes for Yaki 3.
Wait, so 4 for Minecraft. Wait, oh my god. 1, 2, 3.
It's 5.
4 for Yakuza. 5
Kevin
for...
also voted.
Okay, I think Minecraft took it.
Damn
that
it.
was like surprisingly close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we gave Yakuza 3. Like, it was definitely the underdog here, so I'm glad we gave it good shout out.
Hold on, so Yakuza 4. I'm sure that one will make the cut whenever we do that year.
Okay, it's Arkham versus Final Fantasy 13. It's the mid-off of the year.
No.
Nope. I'm clocked in. I gotta go first. I'm clocked in for this one.
Okay, tell me about why Final Fantasy 13 is like this underrated masterpiece, Monroe.
No. Unironically, that is one of the most creative Final Fantasy games ever made, and I'm tired of pretending it's not. That game was cooking. The battle system, heat. The music, heat. The character design, heat. The story, heat. They were cowards in 2009, and they are cowards now. See, that game was cooking, and no one can tell me otherwise.
It's the most innovative because they invented both Australia and they invented lesbians.
Okay. Fang was great, but on a serious note, I genuinely think that battle system, like what they did with the stagger and like it's by the way, it's still a form of ATB. It's not like people saw auto battle and lost their minds. I don't know what the fuck happened, but the fact that you can like juggle enemies and shit in that game and building up stagger is like so. It hasn't even come that close. I mean, the closest would probably just be like 13.2 or 13.3, but like everything after that has not like been as in depth. Even though I like 7 Remake and 7 Remake builds off that stagger system, I don't think it's as good as 13 did it. And I'm just like, dude, we had the blueprint right there, and it's not there no more.
See, that's the thing I hear about the combat, that it is surprisingly like technical and swag. Raph, do you have like a take on that as our resident swag expert, or maybe Ryan?
I could say some stuff.
Go for it.
It's this very. It's like there are nuances to the combat system that is like maybe not interesting in and of themselves, but it's surprising that they exist. Sort of the way that, because it's such a real-time game, with hitboxes, strangely, yeah, like positioning is like a thing in quotes. Spell tiers are not mainly differentiated by damage, but by the area of effects, and like different character casting animations and if they're using a ranged weapon or not actually are sort of playing into decisions at any given moment. And oh my, why is this game on? Because it's like Godman, I'll always sort of default to him because he put it in this really eloquent way where it's a game that sort of understands that the moment-to-moment menuing is maybe not as important as just going through a decision. Sort of on the whole scale, which is why auto battle like is not as bad as people say, and it's like eventually you will understand that that is sort of what you would be doing anyway. So it's a game much more about sort of managing the grand, larger scale plan of a fight rather than the moment to moment, but still sort of combines that with like stagger and timing certain things in like the right optimal way. Good soundtrack. Story is mid though. Let's just talk about Batman.
Yeah, I think we need to give Batman
Move
some time. So, do we have any like Arkham Asylum heads? Anyone want to talk about this game?
No. Nobody showed us. Sorry.
It's been so many years.
I mean, you play the game as Batman. That's cool.
I also think that the stealth system are legitimately good.
Yeah,
like the way it works is more like a puzzle where you decide where Batman is going to strike and where he's going to strike to cause basically a fear mechanic into enemies. Like if you let someone hanging in a crowd full of other enemies, they'll suddenly panic and do something dumb, and then you can kind of set up like a bomb in their path to make them explode. And there's a lot of puzzle-like mechanics based around manipulating enemies' reactions that I think was really well done. Even if the comment is just press button to parry, and press square to attack a bunch of times.
I think in retrospect, the stealth definitely feels like the most unique thing about the game. It's definitely the thing that was not really copied by other games very much.
Yeah, as of like Mark of the Ninja, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and I mean, Matthew Matosis has said it right for how sort of shallow and not that like great this game is. It does make you feel like Batman. Like it really, it really does.
It also has a very brisk campaign that feels good from start to finish. Even if the boss are kind of crap.
Yeah, I was
a little something for everyone.
I revisited it. It's funny. I think when I first moved into this house with my parents, right? So that was like, God, that was like almost 10 years ago, and I was not feeling it on that playthrough at all. Sort of the kind of the shallowness of it, and especially the fake Metroidvania-ness of it. I think I'm a little bit of a reactionary, right? Because people hate so much on Arkham City and Arkham Knight. I haven't played Arkham Knight, right? But like, I always was of this opinion. Well, they're not that much worse, really. If you think about it, like the Metroidvania aspect of this game, I think is a little bit overstated.
I feel like the interconnectivity of the map is more to sell you the place rather than something you're gonna progress in a linear fashion.
I think that's super fair. Okay.
Yeah, as an expert on the game, I'll say that.
You already set the joke in chat, okay?
I didn't get to say anything.
I don't know.
So, John, you will be playing 13, right?
No.
At some point in your life?
I will not.
It's like 5 hours, bro. If you speedrun it,
2
5
for
hours.
13, 3 for Batman. Maybe Ryan, like, go into why 13 is stupid. Just while we're voting.
Oh my... Well, I will say this particular version of the combat system, and just of this game in general, really does not show its hand all that well.
Yeah, that's my feeling on it.
The sort of linear structure is very notorious, but I will give it credit for it does sort of make a lot of basic elements more digestible, but the structure does like genuinely really hurt it on replays where because it's both the early game is like only like 2-player party setup, and also like you have to slowly unlock roles as you go. There's only so many options you can have at the start that just sort of makes it drag on. The meme of this game is that it gets good 20 hours in, where you get this sort of open area with all the side quests. The actual point where it gets good is when you get all of your party members, because you can actually fucking change them around and you get all the extra roles. And there's still sort of nuance there where every character sort of has slightly different specializations. But honestly, you could just play 13-2 because the two good bosses in this game are in 13-2, which also makes so many important small changes to like menuing and like specific AI setups you can do that just make it a lot it's a lot better. I sort of wrote about a little bit of that with 13-2.
What was your score for 13-2 again? On Backlog?
It's like high 8, low 9.
Cool. Okay.
I do genuinely like it a lot. I have a soft spot for 13 as well, but it's like a 7. It's like a game of like really strong individual moments I like, but just on like all levels, the sort of larger structure just sort of falls apart.
Okay, so I'll have to break the tie. Maybe Raph, this is your chance to talk about Batman and like convince me to vote for that.
Oh, I mean, it's interesting as the progenitor of the
The science
bad
says
combat design
The
of
what?
modern combat systems. No, it's interesting being the first iteration
Modern
of it. How
Modern
I
made, yeah.
swear to God.
Let them
I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying. It's kind of mid, but it's interesting because it actually your free flow combat does not trigger until you get a combo of a certain length. So you actually are limited in your mobility at the very start of the game. It's the only Batman game to have a conventional beat 'em up throw where you actually toss enemies into other enemies as a form of crowd control, which I think is rather interesting. I think the most compelling aspect of Batman Arkham Asylum is that if you buy the PS3 version, you get like really cool 3D glasses that make Batman look like a 2D cutout. It's like a paper cutout in front of my screen. It's so cool.
Also, Zayed put the box art in view.
Oh wait, yeah.
The Arkham Asylum box art. The PS3 version also has the
Exclusive play as the Joker challenge maps.
Yeah.
Is that?
I don't think that was ported to anything else.
That's kind of cool. I think that's, dude. I was such a PS3 fanboy back in the day, and I was like, yeah. This is. I felt so good about this. And then a year later, I bought an Xbox, and the rest was history.
Fuck you, Xbox. We can play the Joker.
See, I bought the Xbox for one of the other games that's on
Halo?
here. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm gonna vote for Batman. I think I'm gonna break the tie with Batman.
I thought it wasn't a tie.
We won.
Because
no, this
it has
is good. Like,
my reason for that is very
Please don't.
backhanded. I think it has a less of a shot against Demon Souls. So.
Are you kidding?
What?
Of course. You know what? I know what this is. The game with the woman protagonist lose. I know what this is. I know what's going on here.
Sugar, the thing is, you don't understand. Like, I've been fucked over in this so many times. Like, I don't trust anyone. I have to hedge my bets as much as possible, right? Like, Demon Souls should be a lock, but you never know. You never know with the server.
No.
Oh, he did vote for it. No. Time was here. He did vote. I'm saying that you did not get. Yeah, we got to recount.
Oh, that's the issue. Time did vote.
Let me tag him.
It's too late.
Oh my god.
I did.
No,
It's too late. All right.
No. You made it even. Is what happened. Now it's a tie.
Let's just move on. It's Poncho versus Bayonetta.
There are 5 votes for 13 and 5 votes for Batman now. Because the gifs covered up Kime's vote. Oh, and John was trying to tell us.
Wait, that's not.
Whoops.
Wait,
oh, he voted for 13. Yeah, you're right. Oh, wow. I'm sorry. Okay.
No.
Oh, he did. See, okay, I'm sorry, Kime. You voted for 13 like ages ago, not just like after I set the tiebreaker shit. So
why?
Yeah, well,
we probably shouldn't be hit posting while the votes are going.
Yeah, or maybe have like a post with reactions or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm so sorry. We ruined the vote.
Yeah.
Number
We weren't even
13,
listening.
Armpit react
I
if you vote for
apologize to all
13.
It's
our
funnier
viewers.
this way, so like, I'm okay with it.
Crying baby react if you vote for Batman.
Just use the bat.
Okay.
No, no.
Bayonetta versus Punch Out. So with Bayonetta, I've resigned to like potentially having to be like overly defensive over what is widely considered a masterpiece, right? Which also, I mean, it got like the most votes, I think, 17 votes. Wait, how much it stars? Oh, yeah, then it's Kirby. Okay, yeah, this is my favorite game of all time. I think the argument that I'm gonna make for it, I mean, I probably don't even have to, right? Like, most people do accept that it's amazing. I'll say, I feel like no other game has quite nailed this balance between expression and being a tight, solid challenge. Like, there's probably games that do either of those things to an even higher standard. But I think Bayonetta melds the two in a way where it doesn't really feel like a compromise. It feels like the best of both worlds. It feels like, I think Pure Plat NSYNC is like, it's not the hardest things in the world, but it's definitely a pretty solid challenge. I got like 2/3 in on my Switch run. I still need to go back. And if anyone wants to say that's easy, post your scores, okay? Post your scores before you say it's easy. And what I really like about that is that even in those kinds of moments, I still feel like I can be a little creative, right? It's just such a freeform, smooth game that kind of changed the game and set a lot of new sort of expectations for how action games play. And I think you could make the argument that a lot of games took the wrong lessons from it. But yeah, it's my favorite game of all time. So, Ryan, do you have
think that
some thoughts on it, or sorry, Gary, do you want to say something?
real quick? Do you think that Platinum also took the wrong lessons from its own game?
Yes.
Have you seen Bayonetta 2?
That's why I was asking.
I mean, they took the right lessons with Transformer Devastation, and they took the wrong ones with everything else.
Transformers, great game, yeah. Ryan, I know you're a big fan of this game as well, right?
Yeah. Just sort of historical backgrounds before, let's say, the quote-unquote Bird Gang era and all this. I was primarily like a Bayo 1 like person on Twitter. Quote-unquote combo junkie. I've spent a lot of time with this game, and you sort of said it has like, it's got a little bit of everything. Especially just what really sticks out to me is the way that all of the individual weapons have so much nuance despite the sort of overlapping like combo structure.
Yes.
So it's really sort of ease of use style game that sort of combines all of these really crazy individual things that you can do. I mean, I could make an encyclopedic list of all the shit that I've discovered even just on my own before playing with anybody else. But yeah, and just really, really strong enemy design all across the board. Just hit reactions too. Oh my god, what a good fucking game. God.
Everyone. Oh, sorry.
You can go.
Oh, just like everyone watched Ryan's come of it. I linked it in chat.
Yes.
I'll say to keep it a bit, I guess, a bit more balanced. If you're a fan of like more in terms of more defensive positioning, not that I think it's really that bad in the BIOS context, but that basically doesn't exist. Dodge is super strong, same with the parry.
Yeah.
Get a lot of iframes, so it's more about use them at the right time to open those opportunity ups with
I'd actually argue the parry is even worse because you can parry during dodge animation.
Oh yeah.
You just like stuff like enemies that shoot at you, especially like that second boss with like the eye lasers. You just like spam up on the control stick and you're just completely invincible.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you care about movement and positioning, Bayo might not be the best game for you. But I don't think it hurts a game in this case. I think it benefits more than it hurts.
Yeah, it's definitely not the kind of game where you can like back yourself into a corner, for example. I do think there's still a lot of depth to offensive positioning, right? So which I think what you said about
especially
yeah. All right, go ahead.
Just the way that a lot of moves interact with not only just like movement in general, like Stinger and stuff, but this game has the greatest hitboxes in any game ever made. It's like it's unparalleled. The way that it's like just a complete show of style and ego if you like time certain moves in a way that they naturally can avoid attacks without having to dodge, just because everything is that precise. And that has always been a really big deal to me. Oh my god. Good game.
Raph, 10 seconds. Why is the scoring system mid?
It's built with a bunch of what's the word? Fail safes that just totally undermine everything it's going for. It's also extremely lenient, poorly balanced. Blah, blah, blah.
See, this is the real reason why Infinite Climax is a good difficulty. Not because it shows that the combat is great without Witch Time, but also you can ignore the scoring system and still get pure platinum as long as you don't get hit.
Also, if you want to contribute to the meme and be mean about the score system, it also can encourage like a flowcharty playstyle, because you need to reset with weaker weaves every so often.
I'll give it credit. It's like, yeah, a little bit of sort of restrictions around it, but in my experience, it has like consistently been very freeform. Well, as far as Infinite Climax is concerned, you should remember you should play on Infinite Climax. By the way, it's it's kind of like the best hardest difficulty in any game ever made. That's just my opinion.
Dude, 7 votes for one game is crazy. This has never happened before.
Are you surprised?
Didn't we just do a game earlier where it literally only got one game voted? Like,
oh, I think so. Yeah.
What was it?
I feel like it wasn't like this amount of votes for one game. Yeah.
Was it Metal Gear Solid 4? Like, I don't know.
Was it Infamous?
Oh, Wipeout.
I think it was Infamous. I think it was Infamous. It was like literally all Infamous.
I mean, he went against MadWorld. What did you say?
Yeah. It was Infamous, MadWorld, and everybody voted Infamous.
Wow,
speaking of Infamous, it's up against 999. Do y'all know the video of Jack Black like reading from his like thermometer or whatever it is, and he goes 999.
No, what's that from?
Y'all need to like, look for that. So
by the way, Raph, did Bank say anything about 999?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Yeah.
He did not. He said a lot about Yakuza 3 though. Whoops.
We'll get to that one. Actually, wait, Yakuza 3 is already out then. Okay, so 999.
Back replaying it.
999. I'm sad that Alan isn't here because I think he played it pretty recently and he was like a surprisingly big fan of it. I fucking loved this game at the time. I haven't revisited it since. I'm sure there's like some big obvious problems with this game, but I still think overall it's really smart. It's this really I love the presentation of it. It's a very self-contained, compelling, unique little thing. Obviously, you know, if you're more versed in like visual novels that like never released in the West, then maybe there's like there's like some other games that like did some stuff better. You know, like I'm like cool like that. You know, I play like games. You know,
actually, if you go on VNDB and sort by highest rated.
I've never heard Raph do that voice before.
It hurts to do that.
In seriousness? So does anyone have like complaints with this game that they want to like maybe talk about?
Most complaints with this game have to do with the localization more than the quality of its writing.
Oh, okay.
It was super rushed. So they had to like rewrite big chunks of it. Actually, rewriting a major twist of the game to be kind of different, because so much of the game is dependent on Japanese puns, dependent on weird specificities of the Japanese language, and they didn't know until it was like a few months out, and they had to like rewrite the most fundamental twist of the game.
That's crazy.
And you can tell that there's a lot of weird redundancies, a lot of weird prose, a lot of very like questionable dialogue choices that would have been caught on another edit, right? Like another editing pass. But the actual structure of the game, the characters, the plot, the way everything ties together, it's extremely smart, extremely thoughtful. A pseudo remake of Chunsoft's famous sound novel series that sort of like takes that and puts a lot of weird sci-fi stuff in it. Great game.
I think
it's too bad.
Oh yeah, Gary, go ahead.
I think it's just too bad that like a lot of what I hear about like the Zero Escape, like just I guess like the third one, like whichever one came out last, I forget. All I heard was that like nobody liked it, and that like it does not end the series like really well, and that makes me like, because I did one route for 999 back in the day, and I know that people were telling me like, you know, like, oh yeah, you can like skip back to like sections that you weren't able to do. Yeah, ZTD. And it's like, I almost don't want to, because like if I'd want to do like the whole series, I'd have to commit to it, to like getting to a game that like I just hear is like not like as good of a way to like end the series. But like, that's my own like personal thing. I should just get over it and just like play the fucking game. But that's like one hang up I have.
I played 999 for like 5 minutes, and I'm sure it's good, but only Infamous lets me throw a guy off a building and then power drop them on the way down.
Yeah, the guns and shooting. It's the superior game.
Yeah.
What game is it against? Oh yeah,
Infamous.
Yeah.
Infamous.
I think Infamous winning this one would be more, it would be more unique for sure. 999 is definitely like kind of the obvious pick.
Yeah, I don't think we can compare both meaningfully.
Yeah.
Infamous, it can jump around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll say, I mean, what the series of games, the things that they do, it does feel, again, I don't have the context of the whole visual novel genre, but it does feel pretty singular and pretty, I think this is the one game I would recommend to people who, this sounds like such a meme, right? But like, I would recommend it to people who don't usually like visual novels, right? I think the core mystery at the center of this game is so inherently engaging that I had a really hard time tearing myself away from it when I played it. Yeah, and also again, I think out of the trilogy, it still had the best art style, really good music, cool characters, like just a really great vibe. I think one of the first early decisions in the game is just the way they justify all the decisions with sort of the meta structure of the plot is so sick. John's saying play Pentiment. I probably should, yeah. Oh yeah, please play the DS version. I don't want to say too much about it. I think people get like a little bit too close to like spoiling kind of the point of the game.
There's a more fundamental issue where all the prose that happens, all the narrative text is replaced with more dialogue instead in the HD remake.
That's so bad. Play on the DS.
It's
Yeah,
play the DS.
if you can play it on an actual DS, like if I think on an emulator it's not gonna hit the same. Like I know it sounds like a meme. Trust me, bro.
Yeah,
I believe it.
Okay, it's time.
Anyways, Infamous.
No.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, it's over.
It's over. I want to shout out 428, part of the same remake series Chunsoft was doing at the time.
Yep.
Similar concept, both excellent visual novels built for
newcomers. I think I have that actually. I've had it for ages, dude, on the PS4.
Oh, and play Overboard, listener. It's another immersive sim. You'll like it.
Yeah, ImSimVN.
Cool. Okay. So there's another game that came out the same day as Bayonetta, and it's like equally as legendary. It's Sin of Punishment, Star Successor. Ryan, this is your moment.
Yeah. So we're in a bit of a pickle because I love both of these games, and Ziad's favorite is Bayo, and this is my favorite of all time. I think this is just the one. I think it has sort of everything that I'm looking for. I'm trying to think where to even start. So
Well, it needs to get past Minecraft first, right? That's the first hurdle.
well, that's very easy. I think I'll start with something that's so one enemy in the original game that always sort of struck out to me was at the very end. It's this enemy that kind of looks like it's shooting at the screen, and I think Star Successor really sort of does a lot with that in a way that sort of like tickles my fancy, right? Like all of the camera tricks and presentation of the original is turned up to 11 here with so many like weird camera angle changes and like the presentation of attacks that is done in this way that really does not sort of disrupt the basic gameplay or like how you can move. I think very importantly, the way this game is sort of designed is that it's probably the one game that understands how it is built around an iframe dodge, because it combines that with a lot of more complicated attacks in the original game, almost like shmup-esque. Not on that level of complicated, but it's sort of balanced in this really nice way where it sort of understands that it's a game about knowing where you want to dodge and when, rather than just being able to do it on autopilot. And like the iframe dodge in this game is fucking generous. There even is a mechanic where like mid dodge you can rebound in any direction you want. So it's a very mobile game that sort of blends that with sort of challenging your screen space all the time, because that is very consistent, because despite all the camera wackiness, it's a very sort of fixed amount of space that you have. That also blends that with like a small but meaningful kit of player interactions where the melee system has been revamped to not only having to be manual instead of just like autopilot parrying from the first game, but it has this combo system where the sort of final attack is like a multi-hit move that not only does good damage, but it has this interesting like balance where it's also like more of a safety net if you're trying to time a parry, because you're basically safe the entire time, but it has massive recovery. So sort of balancing when you want to sort of risk doing like the quick taps or maybe go for something safer. And the charge shot, like for both characters, just this really genius way where I mean it's both high damage, but it's also basically like a pattern skip on any boss. Like if you recognize a move that you don't want to deal with, you charge shot and that's it. The boss design in this game is fucking amazing. The final boss rush is just really incredible. And it throws so many like different ideas at you, where I think like stage 3, the sort of like saw blades on the walls that sort of trap you in and you're trying to keep them at bay while juggling all of the enemies. There's the fucking desert motorcycle stage that's really awesome.
Dude.
Yeah, oh my god. The two main things, of course, this game is long. This game is like genuinely fucking long, and it's weird saying that about a game that's 2 hours, but in the context of it being sort of like a game where they want you to try and do it in one sitting, it's not like tough, it's just long, and that sort of can get in the way. And also it's very funny that these two games have a very similar shared trait, which is dog shit scoring systems. In this case, it's sort of way too overboard with the way that it sort of wants to give you medals for everything. In particular, if you kill enemies or objects by like reflecting projectiles back at them, you always get medals, and that's sort of the basis of a lot of boss milking that is like really insane. There is a guy on YouTube who did like score attack for every stage, and it's like up to 30 minutes per stage.
Oh my god.
It's really excessive because it combines that with the sort of like speed killing, and it's initially intended for speed killing, right? Boss timers, but they added a very cheeky mechanic where if you kill an enemy within the last second, you'll sort of get like a just zero bonus. So a lot of milking until the very last second that can get
That's so silly.
very aggravating. I think the saving grace for me, and this is the last thing I'll say, is there are like special medals you get for doing very specific tasks that I think are probably a better sort of showcase, because they sort of highlight some more niche like interactions you can have with the bosses in particular. That is very cool. There's a move where one enemy throws a spear at the screen and it like sucks all these orbs into like a gravity sphere, and that's fucking awesome. Best thing in any game. This is the best game ever made. Please vote for it. I took the entire 6 minutes. I'm so sorry.
There's like one massive issue with this game, and that it's a 3-hour turret section, bro. I didn't like those.
3 hours. You were playing for score? What were you doing?
Yep.
I'll say, so what Ryan said about the camera, right? Really quickly, this game just has such an amazing flow from start to finish that has to be seen to be believed, right? You just have to play it, right? I feel like I know a lot of people who haven't really tried it. It's a game that really grabs you by your pants immediately and never lets go. And then the other thing, I think this is probably the last and possibly only time that a bigger developer did this kind of shmup adjacent game to this high of a standard.
What's that Sonic game where there's like the Ikaruga boss?
The Sonic game with the Ikaruga boss? Wait, but there's one.
Yeah, the new one, the open world one. Sonic, it's a new one.
Frontier. I have to YouTube that. Damn.
Sonic Frontiers.
But like on a genuine note, I feel like this style of design, Gen 7 was the last time where that was like feasible on that scale, right? And I feel that makes this game very, very special. So
yeah, and it's sort of just like inherently intuitive and fun because it's a Wii game. Like
yes,
sort of balancing all of this like genuine mechanical intricacy with just the, it's like, oh, I can point at the screen and and that's obviously cool because it's like a lot more flexibility, but it's easier to sort of fuck up certain strats. Like Issa, his charge shot being like this huge blast radius, you can place that in specific areas to get like a huge screen wipe, but
yes,
it's not locked. Like it'll like has like a soft lock onto enemies, but not into the environment. So it's sort of like a push and pull there.
So we got.
I'll say I never played Sin and Punishment, but Ryan was so passionate about it that he didn't skip a bit that I'm going to vote for it just for that.
Let's fucking go.
The main character is called Issa. It's sort of natural.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, sir.
Need to support all the Issas in the world.
That's 4 for SMP and 3 for Minecraft. Does anyone else want to vote? Oh shit. Okay, I think that took it. That was like that was closer than I thought. Okay. So it's Demon Souls versus FF13. Okay, so 2009 it was these two games. Like these two games that caused like the entire fucking diametrical opposition, the political polarization of the games industry.
And MW2.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a tripolar.
Okay, I figured it out. It's mid-peak versus peak-mid.
That's like
battle as old as time.
That is so accurate. That is so fucking accurate.
Okay.
I guess I want to say, like, because of the Wii and because of the rise of mobile games, I feel like, okay, this was kind of the era where a lot of hardcore gamers, they got really in their bag about casual games, the Wii is ruining gaming, blah, 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 right? And Final Fantasy 13 was one of the, like, scapegoats for that, I feel like. because it was always pointed to as the one example of, oh my god, they fucking ruined the series. That that kind of was always mid, right? But by turning it into Call of Duty, blah blah, and then all the Final Fantasy 13 refugees, they went to Demon Souls. So I think that's why this game has kind of a special place in history. And then obviously with Dark Souls, that whole meme got way bigger. Isa, I know you love this game a lot, right?
I was one of the people fuming about FF13 and waiting for the European release of Demon Souls.
Fuck yeah!
It's one of those type of games when the developer got a formula but wasn't fully materialized yet. So there's a lot of weird stuff in it that makes it appealing.
Yes.
Like the way the enemies work, like in the other Souls games, you have the U start off animation, then you have the active frames, then a U and lag to give people a chance to strike back. In the Souls, it's like he's a skeleton that rolls on frame 1 and then and damage you on that same frame 1, followed up by a really slow overhead smash just cuts you off guard. And I love that still has, I guess, those action gaming frame data compared to the other Soul games. That's a bit more standard and homogenized. I also like how the linearity means they could really focus on making each room be special in terms of enemy placement, which caused a lot of iconic moments, like the room before the penetrator with the 3 spear dudes that you have just to run from them, or like this game was where it all started, hiding an enemy just before you enter a room, type of traps. And yeah, I love because of all the unique, even within his own series to this day, due to all these intricacies, because they basically have no idea what they were doing, but they were doing something, and that something was really cool.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned with the level design, I think is one particular feature of this game that makes it very unique. I think a lot of people sort of, when they learn that this is a hub-based game with segmented levels, they get immediately disinterested in it because that's not what they came to expect from the rest of the Soul series. But it makes the game both tighter in a way, while also giving it a little bit more decision making in your routing, right?
I feel like it makes like other playthroughs like also a little bit more like interesting because you can start you start going to different areas like depending on what your build is. It's like I know people say Dark Souls 1, it's like, oh, you're a faith build, you go to the catacombs, or like you're starting out, you go to the undead burg. It's like, okay, well that's like your 2, and then like you just get the master key and just go wherever you want.
Yep.
But I think Demon Souls giving you the option like right out the gate after you beat 1-1, it's just like it's fantastic for like different ways you want to approach your build, and all those like different first stages you can always approach it with like your beginning character after Boletaria 1-1.
Definitely, yeah. I think the first Dark Souls still seizes on something pretty compelling, unique, but I definitely agree that it feels more limited in that, like ironically more limited in that respect, yeah.
Also,
yeah, I think at the end of the day, Dark Souls' true strength is also his weakness, because the way it is designed, they have to account for the player coming out from every direction. While Demon Souls is just like the enemy is gonna come in this direction, so you're gonna put this enemy here, maybe an arrow guide to complicate things, and it allows them to make more unique scenarios.
Yeah, I also think that another thing that like I was like got turned on to about Demon Souls is that like the boss design feels a lot more like thoughtful, where it's like there's like bosses don't really feel like just like a big thing that you're like depleting its health bar. It also feels like there's like a solution you kind of have to come up with for the bosses, like the puppet lady, like whoever she is, like you have to like defeat the thing outside of it. There's the blind guy that if you have the ring. Like there's a lot of like different ways you can approach the bosses in that game where it feels more like you're solving like a puzzle than like Dark Souls 1, where like Dark Souls 1 can have nice bosses, but you are just kind of like depleting a health bar most of the time. I like the bosses a lot in Demon Souls.
Yeah, I think that aspect of it it sometimes has its weaknesses. Sometimes the bosses are a little bit lamer than you would expect. I think the old hero, for example, right? Like clearly has an intended gimmick, but then you figure that out so quickly that it ends up being kind of like easy and boring, and but it still applaud the game a lot for like experimenting so much. Yeah.
About the 0, I'll say that I tried without the team freeing this time, and the gimmick still works, but you need to work harder for it because he goes aggro and stays aggro more often.
Yeah.
And it's a really more engaging fight without being like, oh, I really need the different. You don't need it to just make it way easier.
So are we ready for... Oh, sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
You can just say this while we're voting. I think my anecdote was my recent playthrough that I did. I didn't do the thief ring, but I had like the spell that like causes sound.
Oh.
I was trying to like toy around with that, and that was very fun. They also give this game credit for almost like maybe unintentionally really well done atmosphere in some places. Didn't sort of mention this with like Gen 4 Armored Core, where that sort of minimalist aesthetic sort of does contribute to something in a way, and I think that's more apparent in this game. Stuff like Latria and sort of like the bleakness of the swamp is sort of portrayed in this like really effective way, strangely.
There's something about how shitty the lighting is in like that era of FromSoft games that like it's so fucking soul.
I don't think that the color scheme and the lighting is very off the air, but it's used so effectively. And I think like the bloom contrasts really well with the darker parts of Bolotari, for example. And the Ballad of Faun looks really filthy compared to other areas similar in the series.
So we got 3 votes for Demon Souls and 2 for FF13. Does anyone else wanna weigh in?
I defended 13 so much. I am telling you to vote for Demon Souls.
I mean, Matthew Matosis made a video for Demon Souls and not 13.
Exactly.
True.
Matthew Matosis says RainWorld clears so hard that he doesn't really care about Demon Souls anymore. Even his girlfriend, who said Demon Souls was the best game ever, she played RainWorld, says RainWorld's the best game ever. Everyone should play RainWorld.
See, that's like a Bird Gang take. Like, I feel like
RainWorld is fucking amazing.
It is great.
It's a masterpiece. It's such a it's too good actually. It's freakish.
It's too good. Gotta lower this one to an 8 out of 10.
Okay, if no one else wants to weigh in, then Demon Souls takes it, I guess.
A lot of absentee votes today.
Ah.
All right.
Can't
so
vote
we got
for Soul. Can't vote for women. What's next?
We got our 4. Infamous is still so surprising. Okay. Bayonetta versus Infamous. Is any convincing required here? Like, I don't know.
Speed it up the process.
Just defeat us, John.
No. We're in top 4. We're in the clear. It's good.
Honestly, yeah, you should be happy with that. Honestly, I remember.
I should be happy with that. Yeah, good enough.
I'll be honest. I don't know which one I was voted, but it's been so long since I played the Infamous that I feel more confident about how much I like Bayo.
I remember when we assembled the brackets. I know our good buddy Riff, who isn't here right now, but like he was saying, Infamous, isn't that game like dog shit? Why is that here?
And we had prototype.
No, it's good.
Yeah. Infamous can be dog shit. The animations are literally lifted from Sly.
Oh, they're so bad when they're like it's like, wow, is that Sly and Carmelita in like Skinwalker form? Like that's so weird.
No, the ones when they just snap to key poses.
So
funny.
SMP versus Demon Souls is a very volatile matchup. I don't know how that's gonna go.
Yawn emoji. This is so free.
Again, if anyone wants to convince anybody else, this is your chance.
I mean, my heart is on Demon Souls, but I know Western Passion will
okay,
get
it's
it.
3 for each right now. 4 for Demon Souls.
4.
Oh.
Raph, don't break. Okay, oof. Don't break Ryan's heart.
Sip.
I think that's it, right? Wait, I think I have to break the tie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I have to break the tie. Okay, I'm going with Star Successor.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
I wanna see the Bayonetta Successor matchup. Okay.
Yeah,
Time.
What do you?
Yeah,
That's gonna
this
be a
this
sweet-
is like tight. This is tight.
Can't support dirty ass feed. Oops.
I mean, it's tight, but my answer is still very clear.
So 1 for SMP, 4 for Bayonetta. Second one for SMP is coming in. Okay, does anybody else want to vote? Kevin coming in. He's about to type, yeah, both games are dog shit. Okay, I think we're at... Wait, how many for SMP? Oh, we have 3 for SMP? Oh, this is... Oh, wait. See, I just saw you were typing and I forgot you already voted. Oh, shit!
4 and 4.
Oh, it's 4-4. Oh my god, I don't want to have to do this. Fuck. Okay.
This is gonna be very funny.
Dude, the thing is, like, if I let Bayonetta win, it's like, oh my god, the biased dictator, fucking taking matters into his own hands. Reparations for last year. For those who don't know, yeah, I mentioned this in the very first episode of this. We had, like, an internal event, sort of like this, where we just voted on our favorite games, like, of all time. And there was some insane upsets there that very upset me, personally. Remember what we did to Rania? Shit, man, I don't know.
I mean...
Okay, think about it like this. I info dumped for 6 minutes, and imagine if you just, like, completely go against that. You're like, he's just rambling.
okay.
Ableism? You're gonna be ableist? Live recording? You're really gonna do that?
Okay, but think about this. Bayonetta winning would kill the sexy allegations.
True. See, I mean, Riff...
Play as Kachi.
Another Riff name drop. He was saying there's no way Bayonetta doesn't clear this, right? So, it would be funny to, like, go against expectations on that, I guess.
If you play as Kachi, it's basically just like Bayonetta, but if it was a good game.
Dude, I don't know. Should I flip a coin?
Man, the canon of good video games being decided by a coin flip.
Think about what Raph said. You can make reparations
I
for
don't...
me.
Oh,
yeah. You can just, like, you know.
I feel like I deserve reparations.
You know what? We both do. Who's more... Everyone vote in chat. Who's more important?
Well, let me see if I can find a coin.
The first year to have 2 winners.
Yeah, let's just leave it at this.
Yeah.
No voting because, like, we couldn't decide.
Let's just have Bayonetta and Sin and Punishment on the first place podium, just like making out.
They came out on the same day. They came out on the same day. Let's just leave it at that.
So true.
At the same time, it'll be really fun if the ends with the coin toss.
That's the thing. I feel like it's indicative of that this is the final year. This is the final matchup, and it is the peak off, right? It's the opposite of the mid off, and literally, it's signaled by the fact that the only way to decide is with a coin toss, right? I think that's very poetic. Okay, I found a coin. Let's say heads for Bayonetta, tails for SMP. I'm so nervous right now. Oh my god. Okay.
Hold on. Okay. Hold on, Raph. Hold on, Raph, because I also got the hard 1cc. I did that. That took more work.
Okay, I'm tossing the coin now. Oh fuck! I dropped it. Oh my god.
Wait, what did you say? Heads was.
Heads is Bayonetta, tails is SMP.
Okay.
Okay, wait. Let me toss again. Fuck! I keep dropping it. Sorry.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
I
You're
love
so
this
amazing.
So
This
I'll say
is
I dropped
bad.
it. I dropped it and it came up tails. Sorry, it came up heads. So it would have been
Where's
Bayonetta,
the
but...
hand cam?
Yeah,
Okay,
but
wait. Should I do a hand count? Wait.
Yeah.
Recount.
All right.
You know that when you drop a coin, it lands on one of two sides, so it's still.
Stop
thing
the
is, I need
steal.
To, I feel like
Stop
I need to.
the
I need
steal.
to catch it and like do it properly. You know, I feel like it doesn't feel right. All right.
Stop the steal. Stop the steal.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
I can... Wait, I can
Delete
do...
that. No.
Wait, are we gonna get a coin cam?
Yes.
Oh my god! No way.
All right.
The only way to know if it's legit.
Yeah, this is the only way.
Well, like, I need to. Fuck. I can't hold the phone. Oh, fuck. I don't know
Hold it
what's
with your
gonna
mouth.
drop when I. Okay. You can like barely see, but heads is the one with the number, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Heads is the side of George Washington. That was the sissiest coin flip I've seen in my life.
See,
I'll take it.
Yeah, but it's
I'll take it.
The thing is, Gary, the problem was like, I mean, I had to hold the phone with the other hand, and like I had to make sure it lands here, yeah. Like, but yeah, it's S&P 1. Okay.
I love that this is how he ended.
Oh wait.
You're playing with
the original,
loaded
did the original
dice?
win for 2000?
What's up?
Did the original win first place in 2000?
Oh, I forget actually.
I think so. Yeah.
The decade starts and ends with the same
This was
series.
a very fair
Let's
process.
go.
Nobody can tell me I'm biased. Okay, congrats to the winners. Congrats
That
to
is
S&P.
true.
See, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Like the first 3 times I kept dropping the coin. I had to do the sissy throw. I'm sorry.
I am now appeased, and everyone is now free to shit on ZOE2.
Okay.
Giving us permission.
Nice. There's one last thing we have to do before we head off,
Mhm.
and it's we want to rank all the years, right? See, when I'm looking at this now, I'm actually really happy with this. These are not the most obvious gamer coded lists ever.
It's not a single. Well. Yeah, no, never mind.
I do love like Boku 2 in particular makes the 2002 list sort of pop.
Hell yeah. Okay.
I like how Warcraft 3 is just there. The only RTS representation we have.
All right, it's time to rank the years. I don't know how we're gonna do this. Maybe I should put.
Should we like vote for the the number 1 year, or
maybe that is the best way to do it. Okay.
So this is kind of rough.
This is really weird and hard. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe ranking the years is not a great idea. I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
We're already here. We might as well
plan this.
We do like top 3 years and then leave the rest unranked or something.
I think
I'm
that's
good
a
with
good
that.
compromise. Yeah.
Top 3.
Yeah, I feel like if we actually rank them, we could sit here for another hour. Probably.
We would. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we would
let's
be
just
here
keep
a
it
while.
simple.
I
okay,
vote 2005 is number
Okay,
1.
maybe everybody say 3 years. Like maybe post a chat.
Oh,
yeah, okay.
Everyone rank
What,
their yeah, everyone get a personal list. Okay.
So wait, are they let's see, what year is Resident Evil 4?
2005. Yeah. This is like
But the
top to
rank
bottom.
is based only on
Top to bottom.
the rank is based only on top 4, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus. This is tough.
Actually, maybe this is a bad way to do it. Maybe we should have done emoji reacts or something. Because that's easier to count. Yeah, let's do that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
React here, but not yet. But not until I put the numbers in. Wait.
Fire react.
Please no joke. I can't, dude. See, now the order's fucked up. Wait. I have to.
It's perfectly fine on my screen. I don't see anything.
The 6 and the 7.
7 and 6 are swapped. Yeah.
0,
It
1,
doesn't really
What,
matter.
really?
Wait.
3, 4,
Yeah.
5.
No, I need the
1, 2,
orders to
3,
be
4,
right.
5.
I don't know why
7.
the 6 and the
Okay.
7 got swapped.
They're in order on my screen. That's strange.
Fuck you.
I'm not even joking. It's actually, I think there's like a lag issue.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Wait.
up until 6 they're fine.
Well, I
Yeah.
just removed the other ones. Yeah, wait. 7, 8, 9. Okay. We got it.
But we all have 3 votes or something.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. This honor system, I have to just trust y'all. I'm not gonna check if anyone did a double vote or quadruple vote or whatever. Yeah.
There we go.
Septuple vote.
I was gonna joke. We ended our tourney with the best year.
That's actually sort of true.
Yeah.
I'm surprised 2008 only has 1 vote. Oh, 3 vote. Wait, that doesn't. That's so weird. See, when I hover
Infamous
over,
made it.
when I hover over
To
it,
the
it
end.
shows 3 names. Oh wait, what? What the fuck is going on? Okay, that's odd. All right.
It all looks normal to me.
2008 is such a sicko year. I feel like that should have been higher. Okay, if that's everybody, then I guess I can start.
Someone keeps
2000
like adding and removing their 2009 react.
It's probably Raph.
No, it's bugged on my screen. It says I voted for every single one. And
Fuck
that's
you.
not
Oh
true.
my god.
No, like when you hover over it, when you said the 8 had 3, I was like, oh, it does have 3, and it says I voted there, and I didn't vote for it. So I'm like re-voting and unvoting everything to make sure it's not.
You know what? I believe him. But can we get more votes for 2003, please? It's got Ketsui. Y'all love gay people,
2007 is our
right?
number 2 so far.
I'm the only one who voted for 2004.
2005.
Those are like 3 of my favorite games of like all time, like right there.
You have to wait until I finally play Katamari. I will
Oh,
hop on eventually.
Luminous. Luminous is fun.
I counted 04 as 5 because it was the 5th one down. That's why.
2007's hard for me.
Well,
to
that's why I asked about the year that Resident Evil was in, because I was like, well, I didn't think it came out in 2004.
Yeah,
No.
whoops.
Why is 2003 at the bottom, bro? No.
I'm sorry.
Because you only got one good game there.
Sorry. If it had sounds fine, I would vote for it, but Alice.
Wait, yeah,
2007
2003
is like multiplayer heaven year.
Are we back to ZOE2 being a misunderstood masterpiece again?
I would have voted if I could have. Wait, so I mean, I think
I can't count. Oh wait, no,
I messed
wait,
up
no.
not showing up
There
to
we go.
2006.
Wait, so I think past 2000. Wait, 2005. What the fuck? I think things moved again.
You have to
2009.
You have to place 2000.
7.
2000.
What the hell? Wait. So 7 is number 2 still, but then also 2001 moved up. Then 2005 has 3 votes. So that's correct. And then 4 and 6 and 2002 are next up. This is 4, 6. Wait, this is 2002? Okay. Oh, thank you, Raph. Wait,
Yeah, I
what?
put 03 in the bottom. It's just funnier that way.
Wait. Where's 2000?
It's
off to the left.
side.
Oh,
It's
scroll all the way
it's
up
still on
and
the left.
then to the left.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what I was missing. Thank you. Okay.
Are you gonna put below 03? Oh.
Wait, isn't 2000? Oh, also has one vote.
Yeah, they both got one vote.
It's very
Maybe-
poetic on my end,
maybe I can just-
regardless of which one you do.
Put them like this.
There we go. There we go.
Oh, are you gonna do the same for 2002 and 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think 4 and 6 also are tied, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're all tied, at least on my end. 2 votes. 2 votes for all 4 of those years.
Okie dokie. That's it. That works out pretty well, actually.
Or 07 and 01 are also
07.
tied,
Okay.
if you care.
Yeah, let's do that. Fuck it.
Yeah, looks good.
This is the pyramid, the Tower of Battle of Good Games.
The Tower of Good Games.
The Tower of Bird.
Infamous looks so insane. Very top.
It should have been 999, y'all. It should have been
It
999.
stands on the shoulder of giants.
No.
We already have the VN is right in the middle as it should be.
Infamous being directly above Devil May Cry is hilarious.
We need the Western action game rep.
We need to show that we're well versed. I like that Infamous is there.
Okay, Gary just had it out. Yeah, I guess on this note we can say thank you to everybody who watched this far. This was a crazy fucking journey. This was a big project that we planned over like actually a couple months. Very fun. Lots of shitposty dumb moments, but also insightful, actually useful discussions. I think also this will be. I've already seen like people hop on games they wouldn't have otherwise hopped on, right? Which is always really cool, and I hope, when we put out the final list, that this will continue. That this could maybe serve as like a nice. I mean, I think there are some placements that just are too random, too insane to like really make sense. But like at the same time, somebody will play Infamous because of this, and that's kind of cool. Yeah, like it is a cool game.
Yep, it's also hard to play.
Dude, this is like, it's literally one of the #1 fucking poster children for PS5 port. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, the frame rate is bad on PS3.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it better.
Yes, it's more soul, actually.
Yeah, the soul is at 23 FPS.
Every time
soul.
people like talk about all these AAA games coming out today are so poorly optimized, I'm like, are you serious? Like, have you actually played?
I remember. I
Hop on
remember
Crisis 3 on the PS3.
I remember some like high budget PS3 games like freezing for a second before doing something.
Yup.
See, we can
Even the first party shit.
If we do this again for 2010s, we're probably going to talk a lot about that, right? We're going to talk a lot about badly running PS3 games.
Oh yeah, because they ran the PS3 into the ground.
Yes.
Well, it's sort of it. I don't know. Consoles are weird.
Yeah,
because
we'll
a lot
save
of shit
it.
that's coming out still.
We'll
like,
save it
should
for
not
the
run on like an Xbone.
We'll save it for the 2010s bracket. Maybe we're not going to do this exact same format again, but definitely something similar, right? I think 2010s is pretty exciting decade as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for participating as well. Thank you for all the great discussions.
Thank you for hosting.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for hosting. Thanks for organizing all this.
Thank you.
Sorry for being a bit scatterbrained sometimes.
No.
I got better as it went along, I think.
No, it's all good.
Sorry for only showing up at the end.
No, see, I was gonna make like a bad pun, like, "Oh, you're a shower, not a grower," or something. Fucking
What?
Okay, perfect notes to end on. Goodbye, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye. See ya.
All right, later, everyone. Go play Penny. Bye bye.